The residents allege in an interview with GBC News that the youth who registered their displeasure through the media about the circumstances that led to the death of Albert Donko and Victor Kwejo have been arrested. Our Bono regional correspondent Samuel Layama has more in this report.
Of Albert Donko after he was picked up on the night of 25th April 2022, and the disturbances or the clashes between the youth of Nkranza and the Ghana Police Service on 17th May 2022 that also led to the death of Victor Kwejo Owusu. Residents in Nkranza say they are still living in fear. The town is now absolutely peaceful. Most of the residents in the township are now attending to their normal activities as expected. Some of the residents spoke with GBC News.
Because I'm paying for woman. Obugusu Kasantin himself, Bibia the Pap from near Pense, Yada Kase, paying for the Awofono, Betma Casa, Asia, Akasama, Afubia, Abem. The Gosses is the way than Nipano, Yahu, Okamokia, Eji. The answer, Omobia, Kumatoni, national.
The current situation is very peaceful in Nkranza here. But the situation whereby we are afraid is the policemen. They are plenty. You see, when at the end of the day you see them walking around with guns. So we don't know why they are still here plenty like that. So we plead for you, media man, to tell the government so that you can even give us a policeman, small one, so that they will go around.
We are peaceful. We are peaceful opposite. The one you never found.
The how you answer. So that body of her, the best of you, every Lucia, like a vampire, probably a to. There you said, we say we will be a basa, and the Bahagi.
Police visibility in the Nkranza Township has currently reduced. Most of the residents are now attending to their normal activities. Peace and calm is gradually returning to the Nkranza Township. For GBC News, Samuel Ayama, Nkranza.
Let's go to the Upper East region and look at women's efforts to stem down chaos and conflicts there. And over 100 women from Doba in the Kasina municipality of the Upper East region are asking the chief of Navrongo, Navropio Pedenis Asakpare Baliana Ada, to ensure peace in the community. The women went into their numbers to the chief's palace and say they live in fear due to the numerous disputes that result in clashes leading to loss of lives.
One person was killed following renewed clashes between residents of Doba and Kandiga. The women say the latest incident is one too many and are therefore calling for peace in the community. They were led by the municipal chief executive of the Katsina Nankana municipality to the Navropio's palace. The municipal chief executive, Mr. Joseph Adongo, said his office will continue to make the effort for peace to be a priority in the area. East Regional Police PRO ASP David Fianco Ochre said 5 people have been arrested in connection with the dispute to assist in investigations.
Either they get us new security men or they let them go, so that we just know that we don't have people to help us. We are pleading that they should see to it, especially the security men, so that they will work on us so that we will have peace.
One person.
Away from the Upper East region, let's look at a dire situation, which is the floods in the capital. The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, says government has released 450 million Ghana cedis to help solve the perennial flooding in the capital. The money, he says, will be used in widening drains, the silting gutters, and clearing of waterways for the easy flow of water when it rains. He made this known when he visited some areas affected by the weekend's rain.
Some of the areas visited include Odona Garages, Kwame Nkrumah Circle, Adabraka, Teshi Bush Road, Greda Estate, Nungwa A-Life, Tema Community 5 and its environs. According to residents, there were no casualties recorded after the rain, but they are still counting their losses. The Municipal Chief Executive of Lejokoko Municipal Assembly, Mr. Mordecai Kwashi, says most of the residents in the area have been rendered homeless. He said the Assembly is creating awareness for the demolition of buildings on waterways to prevent future floods.
The new sanitation task force is even engaged on night patrols to ensure that people don't dump refuse where they ought not to dump refuse. But I think more needs to be done by way of behavioral education. All of them have been informed that there will be a major removal, and then so they are aware that we'll be doing that. In fact, they were expecting us to act on Friday. We had hoped to be able to do it on Friday. However, we didn't have the time to do that after doing the demolition on the managed junction.
The Minister for Works and Housing, Mr. Francis Asenso-Boakye, says government is working to end flooding in the capital, but indiscriminate dumping of refuse and solid waste is hindering government efforts.
The haphazard development of our communities. Whenever you are supposed to build, you have to go and request for a building permit from the district assembly. But most people don't do that. They just build anywhere they like. But it's the responsibility of the district assembly to make sure that they issue permits. Whenever permits are not issued, they should be decisive and pull down any structure that is not built on a approved piece of land.
The Member of Parliament for Tema East, Mr. Carlos Ahinkwa, says government is working to support residents in communities in Tema Community 5 who were rendered homeless. He said measures are being put in place to end the perennial flooding in the area.
When the water is pushing through the bush into people's homes, it pushes alongside snakes and other insects who are not aquatic or who cannot live underwater. Every year when there's major rains in our country, here in Accra, we see this thing happening. It is affecting us somehow, and it's affecting the health of the people also.
Well, still on floods, our colleague Daryl Alan Tego is on the ground First Light and is going to be giving us a rundown of how the floods are causing havoc in the capital. On your way to work this morning, I'm sure you see the volume of water that has inundated the streets all over the capital. Hello, Alan. Good morning. Hi, Alan. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Multiti. Good morning, Ghana. Welcome to #DTV Breakfast. It's a very wet morning. Yes, I can hear you, Multiti. It's a very wet morning, as we can all attest to the rains that came to us overnight. And this morning at the Kaneshie First Light, it is nothing but chaos. Earlier when I arrived here, the water levels were slightly higher, and so if your car was a bit lower, you couldn't drive, especially those coming from the Malam Bawe end or from Kaswa, making their way towards or Russia. These could not use the right end, and so they have to force themselves onto those coming from the Flamingo, Russia, and towards Kaneshie. Interestingly, the water has subsided slightly, and so they could use that end at the moment. But then if you have a small car, then you can't do this. And so your car must be as high as these two who are just turning right to be able to drive through that end. You'll find that some trotros are forcing themselves onto the ones coming from Russia. And so you have interesting traffic this morning flow towards Russia and Dansuman. What is worrying, however, is that the lights are not working. And so commuters find themselves in a gridlock at the very center of the intersection of First Light. And again, Kaneshie is completely cut off. And so Kaneshie are forced to use the same road that takes traffic up from First Light towards Accra and Russell's Road. And so you find they're both sharing the same lane. Earlier on, I saw what looked like a policeman come around trying to bring some sanity, but I think he was overwhelmed by the situation, and so he had to just abandon it. I don't think he must be a non-duty police officer. He must have stopped as a good citizen to help bring some sanity, but he was overwhelmed by the situation, and so he had to let it go. Commuters who are making their way, especially from Accra towards First Light, who have to use Kaneshie, the front of the market is completely cut off, and so you can't use it. And so rather find alternative in using turning right from the Obechabi Lante end, as if you're going to circle, and use the New Times Corporation end via the New Times end, as if you're going to circle, and make your way back toward the back road, and then rejoin at First Light. Before you get to the First Light intersection, you rejoin from there. If you try pushing your way through Kaneshie, chances are your car will get stuck. If you're heading from here towards Kaneshie, your best bet is to keep to the far right lane, so that traffic coming on from Kaneshie, who are using the same road towards Kaneshie, would have to use the left-hand lane in order to get through Kaneshie. What you have also is the bad nature of the road, making road use out here slightly difficult. You remember a few months ago how I reported about a swimming pool in the middle of a highway. That swimming pool got fixed somehow. It got patched. But this morning I can confirm once again that slowly, come the rains, that swimming pool is resurfacing. Is also testament to what shoddy work people do when they have the opportunity to serve this country. Every now and then, what you will have is the chaotic scene as you have in the middle here. This track is stuck in the middle, and so traffic to and from Kaneshie is unable to push through. And this would sometimes hold traffic out here for quite a good number of minutes before one driver or one commuter would be considerate of the other, and then wait till they're gone before they can move. The situation out here at First Light is slightly chaotic, and so commuters making their way towards First Light should exercise a little bit of restraint in order to make sure that traffic is smooth flowing. Let me repeat once again that if you're coming from Accra Circle towards First Light and you have to come through Kaneshie, kindly use an alternative route behind the Awudome Cemetery Corporation, come up towards Kaneshie North Industrial Area, and then make your way down towards the back end of the Kaneshie Market, which will bring you towards First Light, and then you are able to push through. If you use the Kaneshie Market, you'll be on your own. Your car will get stuck, especially if your car is a lower bed car. This so far is the situation out here at the First Light. Once again, they're stuck. The inconsideration on the part of some commuters meant that there will be another gridlock out here at the Kaneshie First Light. This so far is the situation in Multiti, and the rains are still coming down. It hasn't actually lifted yet. The skies are still gathering more clouds, and it looks as if we're in for the long haul.
Right, Alan, thank you so much.
Good morning. Can you imagine that? A taxi driver just stopped yelling abuse at me for doing my job.
Unfortunate, rather unfortunate there. Thank you so much for putting your life on the line to bring us this report, and I'm sure the authorities that have seen the situation, they have ply through those waters as well, making their way to work this morning. And as Alan Darrell Tego, who is our colleague on the ground, just said, you will want to use alternative routes when you're coming towards Circle or you're going to work. This morning, some of our colleagues also said that Circle was completely cut off, inundated with water, and the parents who are sending their kids out to school should not even do that because all the roads are flooded and you can't even see the gutters. So Alan is saying that from the Awudome area, if you use behind the cemetery, you may be able to get to work quicker than using the Kaneshie First Light area, which you just saw chaotic scenes from there. That's the situation on the ground now. We'll bring you reports in our show subsequently as to how the situation has become. Let's move to the And police in Nigeria have discovered the severed head of a state legislator who went missing last week in the southeastern state of Anambra, where the government accused the separatists of carrying out a spate of killings and kidnappings.
According to the Anambra State Police spokesman, Mr. Okechukwu Okoye, a legislator in the Anambra State Assembly and his aide went missing on May 15. His head was found a week later in a motor park in the Newi South local government area. The aide is also believed to have been murdered too, but there was no mention of finding his body. Anambra State Governor Charles Solodo has put up a 10 million naira reward for information on the killers. The move has crippled small businesses and other economic activities, and some residents say they have been beaten up for not obeying orders. Earlier this month, gunmen killed and beheaded 2 soldiers in the neighboring Imo state. The government accused the banned indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, which has denied the charge. IPOB has been leading calls for the secession of the region, the homeland of the Igbo ethnic group, from the rest of Nigeria. Its leader, Nnamdi Kanu, is being charged with terrorism and treason by the federal government.
Let's go to Ukraine, where a court in Ukraine has jailed a 21-year-old Russian tank commander for life for killing a civilian at the first war crimes trial since the invasion. Sergeant Vadim Shishmarin was convicted of killing the 62-year-old man on 28 February. He admitted shooting Mr. Shelipov, but said he had been acting on orders and asked forgiveness for his widow.
Many other war crimes are being investigated by Ukraine. Moscow has denied its troops targeted civilians during the invasion, despite a wealth of evidence to the contrary, while Ukraine says more than 11,000 crimes may have occurred. Moscow said earlier that it was concerned at the fate of the Russian soldier and would look at options to defend him. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov noted, however, that Russia did not have the capacity to protect his interests in person. Russia's embassy in Kiev is currently closed. Imposing the life sentence, the judge said Mr. Shishimarin had carried out a criminal order by a soldier of higher rank. Mr. Shishimarin, wearing a blue and grey hooded sweatshirt, watched proceedings silently from a reinforced glass box in the courtroom and showed no emotions as the verdict was read out. His lawyer said an appeal would be lodged against the verdict. Mr. Shishimarin, 21, served in Russia's prestigious tank division. At the time of the killing, he and other soldiers were traveling in a car they had seized after their convoy came under attack, and they became separated from their unit. When they spotted Mr. Shelipov, he was speaking on a phone. Mr. Shishimarin said he was told to shoot him with an assault rifle.
It's time for us to get our weather update. I'm hoping for some good news that maybe the rain will tone down for now. And Felicity Ahafianyo, who is the head of Central Analysis and Forecast at the Meteo Agency, joins us on the phone lines. Hello, Felicity. Good morning.
Good morning, my sister.
You predicted that there was some monsoonal weather that we'll be expecting from yesterday on. Is that what is happening right now with the floods?
Yes, please. That is what is happening.
Right.
And it's quite big. A portion is over the sea, so it's just doing its westward progression.
Right. What do we expect the weather to look like from today, though?
Yes, for today already we've all known how it's going to be, but now we are concerned about when is it going to stop. From now till midday, it's going to be cloudy with intermittent rain here and there, and then later it will ease to cloudy, and then we'll have the sun breaking through over the southern sector. Our brethren over the Mono East into Savannah, Upper East, Upper West regions, and Northeast is also going to be cloudy this morning. Later, the sun will break through. Then we have thunder and rain cloud formations over the northern sector, which is going to bring about 40 to 60% chance of thunder over Boku, parts of Navrongo, Tamale, Yendi, and their environs. The day is going to be pretty good, but then not too good for any outdoor activities because the ground is wet, and I'm sure some areas will still be reporting flash floods here and there because the ground is saturated. Temperatures for the afternoon will be mild across the 16 regions. It will be in the early 30s, that's around 30 for the coastal belt, 31, 33 for the middle sector, the north 34, 37 degrees Celsius. We are anticipating another storm between Friday and Sunday per the chart that we analyzed for the whole week yesterday. We are anticipating another storm which is likely to be countrywide. This one is going to cover extensively more areas from stretching from the savannah down to the coastal belt. And we are looking at the active center that will be full of thunder and lightning with moderate winds will be over the middle portions and then part of the transition belt into the savannah region. So we are monitoring as we are certain by Thursday. We will release another forecast so that we get ourselves prepared should in case conditions remain the same. But if conditions change, we'll definitely come back to update Ghanaians.
Right. You did say that there was clouds moving over the coastal areas. So our fisher folk, what are they to look forward to when they go out to cast their nets?
Yes, today is not pretty good for them. The sea is still rough, and we have the system that is producing rain over the inland areas. A portion of it is over the sea. So from the coastline down to about 200 kilometers, we have the rainstorm over the sea. So it's not pretty good for fishing activities today. So they have to just relax. Tomorrow and Thursday is pretty good for them to go. We are not anticipating much rain activities over the sea. So today it's likely they should just relax. If anything, it will be in the evening, but then it will just be along the east coast. The west coast will still be rough with the rainstorms that will be propagating. Pressures are high, so it's not allowing the rainstorm to move faster. So it's retarding it. It's just like when you are climbing a hill and you have impediment on your way, you will not be able to move fast. That is what's happening to the rainstorms for us. So they are not moving fast to clear easily. Then you have the free day. No, pressures are. So yesterday we were looking at 10, 13, 10, 14. So it's pretty high.
Right.
And then some US were also reporting 10, 16. So it's not going to move very fast. So they should just relax.
Okay.
And then tomorrow to Thursday they can go out and do their fishing activity.
Thank you so much. Felicia Hafeanyo is the head of Central Analysis and Forecasting, and she just gave us a rundown of how the weather will look like, and it's imperative because we are experiencing the flooding from the weekend through to yesterday at night through to this morning. What was important for me or topical among what she said was that there will be thunderstorm on during the weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but she will give updates as to whether it changes or not. So if you have any occasion planned for the weekend, I bet you would want to do it during the week so that you don't get caught up in the rains or the floods. And that's it for GTV Breakfast News. I am Malti Tisaida Sadek. We're still live on DSTV channel 278. We're streaming on Ghana Broadcasting Corporation's Facebook page at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Join us with your thoughts and comments and about the floods in your area. Up next, after the news, is Health Check, and Kath will be sitting down with our favorite midwife. She'll be speaking about postnatal care for mothers and newborns. Stay with us.
Under the coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
La famo, mama me la famo. Ao de vinye, bonu bonu bo. Yeah, we used to sing these songs back then, man. Yeah, man, I can't even hold my kids like this. They're all like eye level. But what's it like to have a baby this year? And what's postnatal care all about? What are the best practices for mothers and for newborns? I'm going to hand over this newborn to the midwife, and then we'll have a conversation. Mwah. What's my name? Take the baby, oh. Our favorite midwife is Ruby Ansachego. She's a senior midwifery officer at the Tema Health Center and a Greater Accra Vice Chair for the Ghana Registered Midwives Association. Today we're looking at postnatal care for mothers and newborns. What's it all about and what are the best practices? Ruby, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good. So tell us, what exactly is postnatal care all about?
Okay, it's the care given to the mother and the baby for the first 6 weeks. That is from day one, the baby comes out. We have to take good care of the baby, make sure baby grows steadily. Then, after 24 hours, if everything is okay, we discharge the mother home. We don't leave her alone, we do a follow-up. She also visits the facility at least 4 times. Exactly the 4th visit should be when the child is 6 weeks. Then the child can start child welfare clinic. That is, the mother and the baby continues with the community health nurses. So the first 6 weeks of the child is a postnatal care.
First 6 weeks.
Yes.
How critical is this time for mother and newborn?
It's so critical and it's so crucial because, one, for the first 24 hours when the baby comes out, now the baby is out of the womb. There's something new that the baby doesn't know. When it comes to breastfeeding, that is the first thing that is so crucial because mothers even get agitated when the baby can't actually breastfeed or the breast milk is not coming. And the first 24 hours, we call something physiological jaundice, the child can actually experience. At the same time, the first 24 hours, for a fresh mom, she can equally even lie on the baby. Even though we want her to do rooming in, that is lying side by side with the baby, the mother doesn't have any fair idea by lying side and side.
No experience.
Yes. Some, you have to guide them. Majority, you have to guide them because the baby needs to sleep closer to the wall and you, the mother, sleeping at the edge of the bed. So the first 24 hours is so crucial for both mother and baby.
What is the state of postnatal care in Ghana? I mean, just looking at Tema Health Center, where you work, are mothers taking it seriously?
They are unlike before. When education hasn't gone down, people don't even see the reason why they should even come for postnatal. They will tell you when baby's out, all is well. Everything is okay. Why should I even come? They'll wait till the 6 weeks and the baby will take the first shot of vaccination. But now they know that when baby comes out, for instance, if the baby's weight is 2.5, that is the normal weight we are expecting every child, yes, kilogram to have. We are expecting in the next 48 hours, baby should lose about 1 or 1.5 kilograms.
Why is the baby losing weight?
When the baby comes out, you see the baby passes first stool, that is the meconium, which is very, very essential, the green stool. If the baby doesn't pass that stool, it can cause a whole lot of problem for the baby.
Like?
That can cause jaundice, one. So when you breastfeed baby adequately, baby will pass that first stool, baby will pass that first urine. We believe that when baby comes out, baby needs to shed the inner weight. That is when baby was in utero. So baby doesn't need to shed more than 1 kilogram. Yes.
Okay.
Which is normal. It's a normal graph when we draw. We are expecting the baby to shed that weight. After 48 hours, we are expecting that by that time, breastfeeding has been initiated, the breast milk is coming enough. Now, baby is acquiring, somebody will say, this earth, the weight that the baby needs to acquire. So the baby will start growing steadily.
So the graph will go down and
then it will
up.
Pick up.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we expect. For the first 6 weeks, the first 48 hours, it needs to go down. then they start peaking gradually. So by 6 weeks, we are expecting, if the baby is 2.5, at least we should get to 3.5, 3.8, or 4 kilogram by 6 weeks. That's what we are expecting.
Okay.
Unlike before, they didn't know that, oh, the chart, what the child needs to go through. For instance, there are abnormalities the baby will come out with, like cleft palate, extra digit, hydrocephalus, all those things. The baby needs to be referred to.
Cleft palate is where the lip is divided.
Yes, please. Okay. Or under the palate itself.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So that when the baby breastfeeds, instead of it to go to the intestines, some come out of the nose. Ooh. Yes. Some even doesn't go at all. It's just a little that goes in. So all these abnormalities, when the baby comes out, you know that you are supposed to monitor the child. Refer the child to the pediatrician specialist, who will actually take care of the baby for some time. Then they'll be referred to the pediatric surgeon, who they will do those major or minor surgeries for the child. Unlike others also, there are some babies who are born without perforated anus, undescended testes. All these things you see, yes, very early. And at the end of the day, what needs to be done will be done to save the baby.
So repeat, in those first 6 weeks, how many times do you have to be at the hospital?
4 times.
4 times.
4 times. Okay. 4 times. Yes, for both mother and baby. And some of the mothers, so I only spoke about the baby, some of the mothers, the first 24 hours, because it's a new thing for them, they barely even sleep. So the BP can go up. You can see their feet are puffy, that is edema.
Water in the feet.
Yes, because the mother is under stress, barely sleeps. The stress on her is too much, because at night, instead of her to sleep, baby wakes up to feed. So those mothers too, they come, we counsel them that during the day when baby sleeps, you have to sleep. At night, baby will wake up, that's when you have to wake up. And it's also good for your partner to also join you, because at the end of the day, when the partner comes, you can even rotate shift. I always tell newlyweds or newly couple who have their first child. I'll take mine for instance. When I had my first child, during the day, I will sleep. Even my husband goes to work, he comes. He allows me to sleep till 12 a.m. Then 12, he wakes me up. I take the baby and he goes to sleep. The next morning, he wakes up. So I didn't experience that puffiness, that jitteriness and all those
You were
things.
taking your own medicine, your own advice.
So basically, that's what goes into it.
Okay.
That's what goes into it.
Awesome. You're watching Health Check on GTV Breakfast. My guest is Ruby Ansatego. She's a senior midwifery officer at the Tema Health Center, Greater Accra Vice Chair for the Ghana Registered Midwives Association. We're looking at postnatal care for mothers and newborns. You can send your questions right now, and they'll come and read them for you after she takes her crackers. 055-556-1034 is a WhatsApp number. 055-556-1034 for all the questions that Ruby will answer. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you should be doing. What's the best way to give baby a bath?
Oh, okay.
Demonstrate for us.
That's very, very good.
Are you going to take off the clothes?
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, take the clothes off. We can't bath like we
okay.
Yeah, take the socks off.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're taking off the clothes?
Yes, please. So my baby is up.
Yeah, very quiet baby.
Yeah. Baby Kafui Jr.
Yeah. He knows that the daddy is a media person, so no noise on the set. Yeah. So you take off.
Yes, please.
The clothes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have a little demonstration here on how the best way to bath the baby. In weather like this, it's important for the baby to be warm, right?
Especially when it's raining now, it's advisable to just do 1 bath a day.
1 bath a day.
1 bath a day. Okay. Then after the bath, at night, you can just clean the baby up.
Okay.
So, for instance, this is a flat surface. This is what we teach all our mothers, so that they can bath for their own babies. This is a flat surface. You line it with a towel or the cord sheet the child used at night. You line it. After lining it, you put your baby on it. You have your sponge, your soap. you have your towel. So you start from the head.
Okay, from the head.
Yes, please. So you take your sponge and your soap, you bath the head. After bathing the head, you have a dry towel, then you clean. You use a portion of the towel to clean the head. After that, you come to the face. The face, you pay attention to the forehead, the cheeks, and the chin. So you clean that place. Aside that, then you also use a wet towel, semi-wet, not so wet.
Okay.
Then you also clean the face. So the first part is the head. The main reason why we have posterior and anterior frontanels. They have a space here and they have a space here.
Okay.
That space here, if you don't clean up, possibility that the child can get cold is very, very high.
Oh.
Yes. And I hope you wouldn't mind if I talk about the frontanels a little bit.
Talk about them.
Thank you.
Why? That's why you're here.
That's this place is so important. The
back there.
The posterior frontanel. They'll tell you there's a space there in quote so they need to seal it. So what they do is the water is so hot, then they put it in a towel. They put the towel in the water and they apply it, thinking by applying that hot towel it will seal the place. Today I'm using your medium to tell everybody that that place, it has brain cells there. That's why that place is like so soft. That place takes 2 months to actually seal on its own.
Without any heat action.
Without any heat action.
We have suffered.
Now, we've really suffered.
We've suffered in Africa.
Because what this posterior frontanel does is, baby comes out, baby actually doesn't see. So, one, baby needs to know suckling reflex. That is when you deliver the baby, you put the baby on the mommy's tummy, baby is able to locate the breast.
GPS.
Yes. And baby is able to suckle. It's the same way we call startling reflex. That is when you close the door so hard. Thank you. Then we have something also called grasping reflex. That is when you hold the baby to breastfeed and you actually put a finger in the palm of the baby is able to hold.
Okay.
So for the first 2 months, baby needs to actually know how to control the head.
Yes.
Baby needs to startle. Baby needs to know moro and grasp and suckle.
Which one is moro?
Moro is, for instance, looking for the breast.
Oh, moro.
Yes.
Moro is a Ghanaian name.
That is the moro reflex. So when baby is also the last or the most important thing is by 2 months, baby needs to identify 2 colors. That is the black and white.
How will they know that the baby is black and white?
The baby knows. That's when the eye is able to open. You know, white is brighter, black is dimmer.
Okay.
So baby knows when you off the light, I'm alone. When you on the light, somebody's in. So you know, God in His own wisdom, the baby is able to identify all these things by 2 months.
And all this action is from the back of the head.
From the back of the head. Then it closes when you take the skin off the head. You see, there are something called sutures. It's like zigzag, 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 zigzag. That zigzag, that is called sutures. So when the child learns, I'm able to suckle, the child, it closes by 1. Baby knows moro, closes by. So thank you. So the first reflex is the moro. That is looking for the breast.
Yeah.
It closes. So it's a learning process for the baby.
And putting that heat there is not good.
And you kill all the brain cells.
Ow.
So it's like you buying in quote a goat, cut the head and just take the brain and just put it on fire. That's what you are doing to the child. So we don't allow our children or our babies to learn on their own. That's why somebody will buy a box, fit in so many clothes, the baby needs to sit. No, the child already knows what to do. It's a milestone. You don't have to teach the child.
Okay.
Then by 2 months, it closes. The anterior frontanel, it takes up to 18 months. That is 1 year, 6 months. So if by 1 year, before 1 year, 6 months, it closes or you force it to close, then which means you are actually killing your baby. Now, from this anterior front, and the posterior looks like a triangle, and the anterior looks like a diamond shape. So it has so many edges when you look at the diamond. Yes. What this one does is, baby should be able to sit on its own. Baby should be able to crawl. Baby should be able to stand and hold something. Baby should be able to imitate whatever mommy or daddy does. Baby should be able to mimic everybody in the house. So that when Uncle Kafu comes in, baby knows the sound baby has to do that. Oh, Uncle Kafu is in. When it's mommy, baby knows. When mommy is leaving, baby knows that mommy, anytime mommy wears this cloth, mommy is going to work. Because she always goes and come in at this set time. Baby knows that when I give you, I see my brother writing, and he picks a pen or a pencil or an eraser or a crayon, all they want to do is just scramble. Baby should be able to pronounce her first word, either ma, 2 words, ma or da. Those are the key main words. So the first 18 months, the child is able to do all these things on his or her own without nobody's assistant. Because the last time I came, I remember, when baby is coming out, if it's not because of a tear or maybe fistula, baby is able to maneuver and come out on his or her own.
Natural swimmer. I'm
telling you. So why should you put hot? So you know they've actually hurt us. Like by this time you are more than Einstein.
No, it's small.
I'm more than Einstein.
No, it's small.
You
Einstein,
get it.
Einstein, wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you. But because of this heat, and they are telling us when they do that, you are molding the head. You don't mold the hair by applying heat. Africa. All you need to do is just position. Baby sleeps for a while this way. You can turn baby this way. You can turn baby also this way. When you put baby down this way, you tilt the head.
Oh.
That's all. That's how we mold the hair. You don't need hot water. That is burning your hand. Then you apply it on the anterior and the posterior.
And the baby is screaming.
Yes, and they're happy. One funny thing. Hey, you like crying too much. This small thing we are doing for you. Why are you crying?
Now we put more on his head.
I'm telling you. No. And the effervescence that come out of the towel, I'm telling you, it's so much that you ask yourself, why should you do that? But I always say, if you, the mother, you went to the labor ward, and you I don't think you even do that. Because we give our babies to others to bath for them. That's why when they are doing it, they don't have any feeling. So we equip our mothers by doing their own bath. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing, it's not a skyrocket. Like I started. You just do the head first. Then you come to the upper and the lower extremities. The upper extremities, you pay attention to the skin fold. For instance, under the neck, in the armpits.
Yeah, where the folds are.
Yes.
Okay.
You pay attention to under the neck.
How about the belly button? How do you deal with that?
The belly, if the cord has not gone off, we use either chlorhexidine or mentholated spirit with cotton. So if this is baby Kafu's umbilical cord, which is not yet off, you see the blue thing that they have there, that is the cord clamp. You just take about 4 portion or 5 portion of the cotton with the spirit. You clean the first portion, second, third, fourth. Then at the end of the day, where the cord clamp is, you clean it.
And then you're done.
You're done.
How about the genital area?
The genital area, we don't have to clean there. We don't have to put hot water there. For instance, for the men, you know, when we after the circumcision and we are done, all we tell you is there's a warm water with a Savlon. Warm water that you, the elderly, when you bath, you won't make noise.
Exactly.
It's the same way. So you can use your elbow to test it. Okay. Then you put small warm water with Savlon. Then you sit the baby in. Then you just pour the warm water there.
Gently.
Gently.
Okay.
Gradually, aside that, when you finish the circumcision, they will give you medications that you can, antibiotics you can apply on the tip of the penis. Okay. When you are done, by 1 week, it should be okay.
How about for little girls?
Little girls, you don't need to put hot water there.
They've been putting
a
milk tin with a whole.
For instance, with the male, all the nerves around the penis, indirectly, you're actually killing it.
Ow.
You've actually killed it because the normal if you give birth to a baby, the first day, the baby gets, a male child gets an erection. I'm telling you. But the erection decreases when we apply this hot water. The nerves around the tip of the penis, they are telling you that, oh, it's a sore, it needs to heal. Actually, me, I have a permanent sore. You have a permanent sore.
Yes.
Because when you go deep down the penis, it's red.
Yes.
When you go deep down the vagina, it's red. So we all have a permanent sore. So what sore did they kill?
What again?
They didn't actually kill.
Oh.
And with the female, you see, when you part the legs, there's a whitish thing there.
Okay.
It's hormonal, the maternal hormones that comes. And also have a hymen there. Then it's just at the surface of the vagina. When the child is growing naturally, it retracts on its own. Now, they'll part the legs, then they'll be using the towel with the hot water, saying they are cleaning.
Why?
Cleaning. They'll go inside and they are wiping.
Ow.
What actually are they wiping? So even before the child is even 6 weeks, she's no more a virgin.
No.
She can't even prove a point to the husband.
The hymen has gone.
I'm telling you.
Oh, wow. This is great. Great education. For lack of knowledge, our people will perish. Albert, he says, God willing, if my wife conceives there, I will call the midwife for tips on how to birth the baby myself. I don't want any matter cry. Yeah, people are thinking about the future. Great stuff. Great show and education. Wonder how many babies have been damaged by all the heat. Ow, Africa. Jerry, thank you so much for your messages. My wife is pregnant and she's in the 7th month of her pregnancy. She went for scan. She was told the baby is coming with a leg instead of head. I want to know what she's doing to be staying for the baby to turn and come out with the head. Wizard from Accra. That's beyond what we are doing. We are doing postnatal, but we'll get answers for you. Don't worry about that. Keep them coming in. I think you need to probably be here again for a part 2 because we've just done bathing.
Yeah.
And there are other things that we need to deal with in terms of postnatal care.
Yeah.
What can you just finally sign off with? What are the key things that people should remember from this conversation? We'll bring you back another time.
All right. Okay. The key main thing is the anterior and the posterior frontal is so important. We shouldn't apply heat there. Turning of baby's hand to the back, saying they are making the child look so flexible, it can break their clavicle. And I have a 14 months old baby at my facility who is in cast now because they did the turning of the hand and the clavicle and back the part of the hand is also broken. So they did a cast at 37 from all the way. Yeah.
14 months.
Yes, 14 months old baby. It's a boy. It's the same way they tell you they want to actually make you get nicer legs and nicer calves. So they turn the leg, massage. But for a fact, if your child will get calf or nicer legs, it's the genes, it's the makeup of the father and the mother. If you, the mother, you don't have nice legs, your husband doesn't have nice legs.
Where are the legs going to come from?
Thank you. If you are a bow leg, your husband is a bow leg, automatically you have bow legs children.
It's even good for corner kicks.
I'm telling you. And those people have grinding, like they barely fall. They barely fall.
They're stable.
I'm telling you. They and gravity, they are like
they
friends.
are one.
They are friends. So I'll tell everybody watching me this morning that our babies are unique. They are special. They don't need you to be applying all those things to them.
All right.
They came special and they'll remain special. So we should take care of them.
You are our own very special midwife, Ruby Azatego, Senior Midwifery Officer, Tema Health Center, and the Greater Accra Vice Chair for the Ghana Registered Midwives Association. We shall have a part 2 because there are so many issues we have to cover on postnatal care for mothers and midwives. Wish you a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And from Ruby to a former baby who is now a full-grown TV presenter. She has this breakfast sports and she's here. Maltiti, 7 o'clock, breakfast sports. Stay with us.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
This is GTV Breakfast Sports. I am Maltiti Saida Sade. CAF is saying that Bolex is good for corner kicks on health check when they were having the conversation about newborn care. But also say that it's not good for Sulia or it's good. So parents want their children to have straight legs so that they will not be a goalkeeper and Sulia goal will pass in between their legs, right? But that was an interesting conversation. You want to catch it again on Facebook at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Stories that are making headlines in the sporting arena. We'll be looking at the Women's Champions League. We'll be looking at the Ghana Premier League. We'll also be looking at Man U's new manager who is holding his first press conference or first news conference. Then we'll do some tennis as well. Let's start off with the Women's Champions League, and the Confederations of African Football has set Sunday as deadline for the submission of all participating clubs for the 2022-2023 Women's CAF Champions League. According to CAF, all member associations are to take note and comply. Last year, champions Hazakes ladies won the WAFU Zone B qualifiers before winning their way to the final in Egypt, where they lost the trophy to South Africa's Mamelodi Sundowns in a highly competitive final. Let's look at the Ghana Premier League now, and the Ghana Premier League match between Ashanti Gold and Asante Kotoko, which was postponed, is now scheduled to take place next month. The Ghana Football Association yesterday announced that the match day 29 clash between the two sides will take place on 2nd June after it was called off last week. It will be recalled. Now, the GFA, however, noted that should the security risk, the advice from security services remain unchanged by the next home match of Ashanti Gold SC. The association reserves the right to shift the home matches of Ashanti Gold SC to the club's selected alternative match venue. If you recall, this is due to the fear of reprisal attacks if the game should happen in the Ashanti Gold area. Let's move on, but still on the Ghana Premier League. Meanwhile, Accra Hearts of Oak have demolished their secretariat to pave way for the construction of an extra modern edifice to be named the Phobia House. As announced by the chairman, Togbe Afede, the 14th, at the outdoor ceremony held a fortnight ago, the commercial center will run as temporary secretariat for the club until the completion of the new edifice. Hearts are aiming at completing projects, which includes the commercial center, the Phobia House, a 20-acre sports facility in Pobiman, and a 15,000 capacity stadium somewhere in Accra. Look, to me, this is investment in football. The commercial center alone, when it was unveiled, brought all the big wigs in the sporting arena, and so kudos to Hearts of Oak there. I hope the other clubs emulate what they are doing. Let's still stay on the Premier League. Kotoku Royals FC have assumed top spot in the Ghana Division 1 League Zone 3 after winning a protest against Heart of Lions for fielding an unqualified player. The disciplinary committee has ruled that Abdul Mohamed Musa was unqualified to feature for Heart of Lions against the Oda-based side during a second-tier match on March 20. The latest decision means the Royals will top spot on 56 points, with Tema Youth and Liberty Professionals pegged at 55 points each, with 4 games to end the season. Now, by the club's own admission, Hearts of Lions FC admitted to have named the said player who was unqualified to play in the match in the squad list unintentionally. With these match fixing allegations, are they sure it was unintentionally that the player's name was listed on the squad list? Well, let's move to Manchester United. The Red Devils, their new manager, Eric Ten Hag, faced questions on Cristiano Ronaldo, Harry Maguire, and the breaking the Man City-Liverpool dominance. At his first news conference, Ten Hag greeted the media with handshakes and smiles at Old Trafford on Monday morning, less than 24 hours after he washed from the stands, as his new side brought an end to their worst season in the Premier League era with a 1-0 defeat at Crystal Palace.
I admire them. I admire them both. They play in this moment really fantastic football, both Liverpool and Man City. But you will always see that there are an era can come to an end. And I'm looking forward to battle with them, and I'm sure all the other in the Premier League.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Game where Crystal Palace manager Patrick Vieira is not facing police charges following an altercation with a fan at Goodison Park.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Palace, which secured their...
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Let's move to tennis now. World number one Novak Djokovic launched his French Open title defense.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Good morning. My name is Valerie Dan. So thank you for joining us. We are live on Facebook as the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. And of course, if you look for the hashtag GTV Breakfast, you find us everywhere. It's 12 minutes past 7 and traffic is rife everywhere. What's traffic looking like from where you're coming from? Or have you gone through it? Or are you in traffic? Well, we have word that Circle is unwatchable. No go, no come. And so our guy Alan is on the beat as usual, and we'll see and hear from him in a little while. And yeah, he's on our screen. Alan, good morning. Been around the Circle area. Give us some updates, please.
Hi, good morning, Valerie, and welcome to the New Times Corporation Awudome roundabout. And so towards the north, we'll be heading for Circle. And from where I am currently, if I point my camera towards Circle, you will have a little tailback. It is because there's on the rail line, just before you cross into the roundabout, you have a huge pool of water sitting right there. And so commuters who are going away from here or coming out from there are having to drive really very, very slow. If I pan my camera around facing towards westward, in which case we're looking towards the New Times Corporation end, you have just as you come off the overhead and you make towards New Times Corporation, you have a little pool of water sitting to your side. And this sometimes makes going through that slightly slower. You can see someone trying to push their way through it. Traffic coming out from the New Times Corporation, and in this case coming from the North Industrial Area, parts of North Kaneshie and Kaneshie itself, is relatively slower than usual. It is because of the situation of the weather. It is also because a lot of traffic is avoiding the Kaneshie market completely. It is simply because the Kaneshie market, as I speak to you, is cut off. Traffic cannot flow, especially the very lane right in front of the market is completely cut off. You can't drive through it because there's what seems like the Kone Lagoon sitting out there. This description may be slightly underwhelming, but yeah, that is what it is. There is a huge pool of water sitting in front of the market, and so commuters can't do in front of the market. But the other lane towards the Takrady station is okay to drive on, and so traffic in and out of Kaneshie is all on that side. As we look at traffic coming from the New Times Corporation, I pan slightly round towards traffic filing out from here towards Awudome, in which case you'll be headed for the Obetebila Circle, and also traffic possibly coming out from there. And because Kaneshie is cut off, you don't have so much traffic activity coming from that end of town towards the end. It has all somehow managed to find its way onto the back of the Awudome Cemetery. And so let me just sound this word of caution to commuters making their way from Kaneshie and having to use the back of the Awudome Cemetery, as well as the New Times Corporation end of town. Please, due to the traffic situation in and around Kaneshie, a lot of traffic activity is through the Awudome estate, making its way towards the New Times Corporation. And so you may have to drive slightly slower. And please consider the next commuter either using the same intersection as yourself or moving away from that intersection. Because of the situation, everybody is trying to push their way through. And this is compounding the traffic situation on the ground. It is making it somehow a bit difficult to ply these roads this morning. If you're moving away from the New Times Corporation roundabout and headed for Circle, now you can see the road is virtually empty. It is so because word is now going out and commuters are becoming aware that there's water sitting ahead of you. And so you either find an alternative route or you wait until when you know that the water has subsided. Anything apart from that, you're more than likely to get stuck in water. This so far is the traffic situation out here at the New Times Corporation roundabout, the roundabout between Obechebi and the Kwame Nkrumah interchange. I'll bring you a bit more update as I drive in and around town, keeping an eye on the flood situation around the Dabraka enclave, as well as keeping an eye on the road for traffic updates. Thank you very much for joining us, Valerie. Take it over in the studio.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Alan. Yes, and so stay with us for all the updates as to where traffic is rife and the alternative routes, and that's a keep an eye for you. Still in the trends, said John is trending, CCTV is trending, Manasseh is trending, Destiny's Child is trending in the Timon circles, Bobrisky is trending. Guys, headlines is coming up after this break with and his gentlemen.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
beautiful way to start the day. Commiserations if your house has been flooded, rain, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be ending. It's still raining. That kind of gentle rain and consistent, that goes the whole day. I hear it's good for crops, but it's not bad for it's not good for human beings, really. A couple of messages before we go into our headlines. And there's a lot of feedback from the health check conversation, postnatal care for newborns and mothers. And there's a message here that says, I plead that this program should be available at least 3 times monthly or repeated in the evenings. Well, in the evenings, this evening, you will get it again. At 11 p.m., you get the show. That's Kelly Alex. Kindly share this program for us. Information spreads better on TV these days. Thank you very much. We got that. Detective One says, there was a message he said, in fact, this is very educative. We really appreciate your efforts. I will never let my mother bath my next child again. Imagine the way they bend their brains with hot water. Yeah, so knowledge is making us know that there are things that we should be doing. It says, great midwifery nurse, great show in education. Wonder how many babies have been damaged by all the heat. Enjoying it. And we're enjoying all your messages. Keep them coming on 055556 1034. It's now time for headlines, and I'll be having that conversation with my guest who's already seated, who was listening intently to the conversation we were having on health check earlier with the postnatal care for mothers and newborns. Dr. Eric Odru is the Director General for Internal Audit Agency. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my brother.
You see the action of the mothers and the grandmas who meant no harm, by the way.
That is so.
But just imagine what they were doing to us.
I can imagine that, but it's good we know now.
Yes.
Going forward, we'll protect the future.
Yes, we'll protect the future and make sure that the children don't suffer these things. Okay, so lots of news that we want to check out. There's a notice on the police's Twitter and Facebook. I'll bring it to you. It's in connection with a robbery that took place in Dansuman. And there is a notice from the Ghana police on an operation in which a robbery suspect was arrested while one is currently being pursued for a daylight street robbery at Dansuman. I saw pictures of that. It was quite brazen. Yeah, so we'll get details on that from the Ghana police's Twitter and Facebook page. There's a statement on it. So we'll get that for you soon. And then there's also a statement on Nkranza and its environs, also on the Ghana Police Twitter page. So that's they are quite busy there, and they were talking about experiencing flooding on some principal streets and highways within Accra metropolis, and they are advising us to remain indoors. Okay, so we'll look at flooding later on in the next hour, right here on GTV Breakfast. Let me go through the headlines for you. Daily Graphic: Ghana ready for mining hub, says Minister Gina Paul. Ghana Mozambique condemn Russia invasion of Ukraine. Tourism Ministry partners City of New York to grow sector. An African Development Bank launches $1.5 billion food emergency plan for Africa. Flood waters destroy documents at Lands Commission. That's page 20 of today's graphic. In the Ghanaian Times: I'll support Ghana to become Africa's tourism hub, says New York Mayor. And MIIF to invest in lithium and salt as it outlines its 2022 investment plan, and MIIF is the Minerals Income Investment Fund. The government engages stakeholders ahead of 10 billion CD U-Start launch in June, and AFDB supports outdoor support for 20 million farmers to avert food crisis. Despite flood, land documents are safe, says Deputy Minister. I think I want to jump on that story first because it was quite alarming to hear of documents being destroyed because of a downpour, Lands Commission documents. And so hundreds of documents, computers and scanners at the head office of the Lands Commission in Accra have been destroyed by floodwaters. The basement of the new building was heavily submerged by water last Saturday, leading to flooding of the records room, the files room, IT unit, all situated in the basement. So now the affected documents included indentures, land maps, land documents. Sources at the commission told the Ghana News Agency. And as a result, essential land documents had also been mixed up as a result of the destruction of the documents. So you see a picture in today's Ghanaian Times of the
Yes, sir.
I thought documents were being digitized and backed up somewhere else. So we shouldn't be too worried about this, should we?
No, we should not.
Yeah.
We should not. Let me say good morning to your viewers and listeners. We should not. Because as far back as, I think, 2018, we started this digitalization agenda. And at a point in time, we're even told that Lands Commission is closing business to the public because of the digitalization effort. So I want to believe they have a backup both within the organization and then outside the organization, to the extent that all these documents that, as it were, may have been destroyed by the floods, we have soft copies somewhere that can easily be retrieved. And yesterday, I heard Mr. Dawson, the Executive Secretary of the Lands Commission, assuring Ghanaians that we should not be afraid at all, and that they have soft copies and backup of all these documents. So nothing to worry about, except that we have to be proactive and take up various precautionary measures to prevent things from happening. Because assuming, without admitting that we don't have a backup copy, what would have happened to us? So I think these are things that we should take seriously. But I know, and I want to believe what they told us, that they have backup copies, and because it happened through or during the digitalization agenda.
So the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Benito Usubio, and this is I'm reading this from the Finder. He stressed that moving forward, they would ensure that no documents are kept on the floor in the offices to ensure such an occurrence does not repeat itself. He stressed that the rain was an act of God, which could not have been predicted and therefore should not be linked to the Achimota Forest land saga or any other land matter whatsoever, as it would be unfair if that is considered. Of course, you can see why people will make these links, right?
Oh, definitely. It's normal for people to think Achimota thing, but truth be told, and professionally, it doesn't work out like that. Coincidentally, it happened when everybody is discussing or we're talking about the Achimota Forest saga. But I want to believe that they have the backup, so there's nothing to worry about.
Okay. All right, and we will be checking out what the situation is in the capital with respect to the flooding. I mean, the rain last night was quite persistent. How did you experience it?
I mean, I had it around 4 a.m.
Okay.
And,
you're a deep sleeper.
I do. Around 4 a.m.
It was raining. It was raining all through.
It was, and on my way coming, I saw a lot of places flooded, virtually submerged. And I was asking myself a lot of questions. Has NADMO taken precautionary measures already, or we are waiting for things to happen before we jump in? But I think the media has done extremely well in this year, because you warn people, you inform people, and then you told them what was going to happen. Duty bearers were brought on board. People were asked what was going to happen. NADMO was prompted. So I want to believe that we'll be able to manage it as and when it happens. But I also give thumbs up to the Meteorological Authority, because they also predicted that we're going to have heavy rains this year. And this morning, they gave us a rundown of what is going to happen. And UNIC also did well. They also indicated that, look, in the morning you have these rains, in mid-afternoon you're going to have the sun around 29 degrees and all of that. Those things are very good. It helps all of us to manage ourselves. But we should be proactive. NADMO should not be sleeping. This is the time to work and conscientize Ghanaians what to do, where to go, and what to do in case of emergency.
Okay, and now that just because you talked about NADMO, we actually have a conversation next hour on perennial flooding in Accra, a decades-old problem. Is it solvable? And we do have Georgia Isi, who's the Director of Communications at the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. He's going to be here with the Deputy Director, Head of Research, Technology and Innovation at Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Simon Sovwe.
Okay.
So we'll be having a conversation around the flooding in Accra and how to solve it. I mean,
are we not going to think about how to solve it?
That's the question.
I think that should not be the case. We should not be talking about how to solve it now. We should be talking about the measures put in place to prevent it from happening, or if it happens, how we intend resolving it. Because I know NADMO is decentralized, and these things happen all over 261 assemblies. So what I expect Mr. Isi to come and tell us is the measures they put in place, the numbers to contact, the numbers to call. Wherever you are, NADMO is closer to you. That is the kind of thing I want to hear. I don't want them to what they intend doing. No. They should give us what they have done and what the citizens should do, how to get in touch with them, and how prepared they are for the floods. That's all.
In your estimation, when will this problem be solved? I put this question out and people seem to be very, very pessimistic and not very confident that it will be solved anytime soon. When will the flooding be solved?
I think, you see, we cannot prevent the rains from coming. What we can do is to be proactive and prepare ourselves to receive it and manage it. And in terms of the management, I think NADMO should be on top of issues by now. So Mr. Isi will tell us. But if you ask me when, it will be extremely difficult for anybody to give a definite date or a definite period. These are natural disasters, natural occurrences. What you have to do is come up with proactive measures so that anything that happens, you'll be able to manage it. And that's why NADMO is there. And it shouldn't be only NADMO. All other institutions must work and they put themselves in readiness to support NADMO to manage any excesses that may occur. Except that we should also do a mapping of the flood-prone areas and then quickly put contingency measures, knowing very well that if it rains continuously for 4 hours, these are the areas that will be flooded. Evacuate people from there ahead of time, put in place contingency measures, and make sure that as soon as you see the floods coming, you try to manage it. So these are things that we need to do.
I asked the question on Facebook, and I'll just give you a sense of some of what people are saying. So Jaru Goza says, when we depoliticize planning and development, the flooding will be contained. We need to have a national agenda free from politics.
I don't understand what he meant by depoliticizing planning. Plans are done by local government in accordance with guidelines from the NDPC, and you are expected to incorporate in the plan a disaster management plan. And NADMO is decentralized, so it is part of the district assembly. So their disaster management plan is incorporated in the district assembly's plan. The only thing is that we should make the resources available for the implementation of the plan as designed. If he says that, I would agree. But if you said when floods are coming, the flood, they don't know NDC, they don't know NPP. The flood knows Ghanaians. And the development plans are prepared by assembly members and the General Assembly, who are expected to know better. So the issue is about how to get resources to implement the development plan, which includes the disaster management plan. So if that is what he's talking about, I can understand. But if politicization of the plans will not help us, in any case, local government
depoliticize the plan.
When we depoliticize, but the plans are not politicized in the first place for it to be depoliticized.
All right. Okay. So this is another suggestion as to when the floods will be solved. It says, and this is Ernestina Akole. She says, when people who build on waterways have their buildings raised to the ground without fear of failure, when a permit is not granted for such structures to be erected on waterways, when gutters are desilted with frequent visits from the AMA task force, and that is when the flooding will be solved.
This I want to agree in part. What I want the person to say is that local government should be bold to implement their bylaws and the building regulations of this country. If you have built on waterways, pull it down. But before the person even builds on waterways, we have engineers. Somebody gave the person a permit. Somebody supervised. So we should bring people to book. So local government should set up and make sure that they apply the building regulations of this country. And if they know it, they should just pull the buildings down. That's all.
Peter Zanku says, when there's attitudinal change towards the environment, things will be okay. Is that all we need?
Partially, attitudinal change is important because drainages that are blocked had to do with people training around. This morning when I was coming, I saw people, virtually people as it were, leaving things on the street, garbage from home. They just threw it on the street like that. I had to call somebody to pick them up. So I think attitudinal change is better. Once we invest in laws and we make the laws work, let us also orient people and then make sure that we change our attitude.
Listen to Odro. He says, only when people stop throwing filth into the gutters, and wait
right.
till chiefs and politicians call them for communal labor. Even that, funny enough, they collect the silt and then dump it at the edges of the gutters and then go to sleep hoping that it will vanish. The city authorities must have a green infrastructure policy, create green belts, and stop making cities only concrete and glass. They are well traveled and they see that each community has parks without filth all over when they travel.
What we need is a comprehensive environmental management policy and strategy, so that once you desilt the gutters, you don't put them in the gutters. While in the process of desilting, you have a vehicle that will take them, and you have a final disposal site and all of that. So we need a comprehensive environmental sanitation management policy. We do have it, but the challenge is implementation.
Check out what's up on the screen right now. So this is a section of Accra. This is the circle. This must be circle overhead. I'm just wondering what happened here. This morning, these are pictures from this morning. It looks like some amount of destruction or filth that has been gathered and dumped, or it could be the force of the water that brought all this here. I just don't know what it is, but it just does not look nice at all. And by now, city authorities must be clearing this up, because you cannot leave this on the road just like that. This is a circle overhead.
Definitely.
Yeah.
City authorities should be there clearing it. You
Yes.
need the police, the MTTD to be there directing traffic. And I also urge citizens to join city authorities. These are places where people sit, people do their businesses and all of that. So we should not leave this to city authorities alone. This is the time, or this is the period where I need all chief executives to be up and doing. I don't expect chief executives to be sleeping. I want to see chief executives with their engineers and city authorities on the field, on the tour, to see what is happening, and then they call in their engineers to come and clear the various spaces or the filth that have been produced on the street. So chief executive, come out, don't sleep, be on your feet, don't be an armchair leader. This is what is happening, and you need to help us resolve the issue.
So I think somebody just came and dumped their rubbish right on this and this is circle overhead.
That's right.
Wow. Or was it a truck that overturned and just dropped everything there?
Not at all. From the saying, these are filth, these are sheds, these are things that people use to do their business under the overhead.
And the water brought them there.
And the water brought them there. So what we need to do is we need to get the city authorities to be there to help in relocating these things. And that is why I'm calling on the city authorities, the leaders, the chief executive, the coordinating director. This is the time for you to be on the field. This is the time for citizens to feel your presence, that local governance is closer to them. This is not the work of the president. This is the work of chief executive, coordinating directors, and the various environmental sanitation officers. They should be on the field. We should see them in their Wellington boots, supporting, directing affairs, and making sure that the field is cleared.
Wow, this is just amazing. I can't believe this. This is Doctor said this is crazy.
It is. It is.
Wow. Yeah. So when will the flooding be solved? Those are the questions I'm asking. Some people have given up. As Harry Richard says, we can't stop it. We need a change of mind, both on the side of the citizens and the government, to reduce its effect. Can you understand the sense of despair sometimes from people who feel that, listen, you know what, we're going to throw our hands up in the air, we can't solve this? Can you see where people are coming from?
No, I can see that, but that is also not the best approach to development. They should be part of the solution. You see, in a country, if you take yourself out of the solution, then the problem never gets solved. So let us be part of the solution. Come up with proposals, be part of the solution. It's very important. You don't throw your hands out and say that, well, it can't be solved. If it can't be solved, then leave the country. You have nowhere to go. We have only one Ghana. So we have to put our heads and minds together and then make sure that we resolve the issue. If we need to take on the politicians, take them on. If you need to take on leaders, duty bearers, take them on. But in taking them on, ask yourself what you can also do in your own small way to resolve the issue. And that is why I want to Ghanaians to do. We should not take ourselves out of the solution. We should be part of the solution. We should not be interested in the problem. The problem may have already occurred. How do we resolve them? Let us be part of the solution process.
Let us be part of the solution process, says Dr. Eric Odro Osai. We have our man, Jay Gabra, who is on the beat, and he will give us some answers as to what exactly is going on the road around Circle, where you have just incredible amounts of rubbish, filth, Graphic Road. I mean, this is Graphic Road, I believe. Yeah, it's just amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. So he will get through to us, and I just want to find out how. I mean, I read a tweet on Sunday where the person was saying, listen, we're going to have tours of NADMO, we're going to have city authorities to sections, and after, when the rain stops, everything will end, and then we'll be back to another cycle of waiting for June, July to sort things out. It's people just feel, but like you said, we shouldn't throw up our hands.
No, we shouldn't throw up our hands. I know the Greater Accra Regional Minister started a process of desilting, training a cadre, a group of people to help in the management. So this is the time for us to see them on the front.
This is the time. We are going to Graphic Road. I'll not be surprised if I see Jay Gabra in swimming trunks, because Graphic Road looks like Venice. Jay, good morning. Tell us what's going on, man.
Thank you so much, Kaf. I don't know if it's still a good morning, considering what's been going on since dawn. Apparently, some people started in the evening. So, owing to the precipitation going on everywhere this morning, we are here on the Graphic Road monitoring the situation. And we are at the Bayerman traffic light here on the Graphic Road, and it's a scene of chaos. A number of people stranded, and on the Toyota road towards STC, you can see it's just a flood of water, and even one vehicle which is even stuck in the water. It was carrying timber. I don't know where it was headed, but at this moment it's in the water and it cannot move anywhere. There are also a number of workers around me, and it's like we are on an island where we are surrounded by water because nobody can head towards their place of work. Speaking to a few other people here, it's like their consensus is perhaps they should just go home. Because this situation, it's one that we've been fighting for a while. I don't know why it should still be an issue. Because looking at this, you have to ask yourself if there's any kind of drainage system where the water is supposed to go through, and unfortunately it's not. So if you look on the road as well, for those who are coming from the interchange, that's where Abosokai and all that, you notice that for some drivers, they are not using their own lane. I don't know what's happening at the top. We'll go there and find out. But for now, what is happening is they're also using the oncoming lanes before they join their right lane so that they can go towards the Graphic Road. They can head towards Accra Central and all. So the situation here, we are just looking at it, and we are advising commuters and those who actually work in this area that if you want to use this side this morning, this is what the situation looks like. Monitoring the situation in and around the capital at the moment, you can tell water is not really our friend. Something that's supposed to be a blessing, but I don't know why the situation should be like this. It's like Accra should have been a harbor city or something. Maybe if you are not careful, 2040 will become Atlantis City, maybe the lost city of Atlantis or something. So it's something we've been doing a lot. When it comes to this kind of situations, we speak a lot, and it's like a cycle. Every year we come back and say the same things. We say we should stop littering, stop throwing rubbish around, we decongest the areas, and yet we still face this kind of situations. As to whether people have built on waterways, what's causing this exact situation, and the vehicles which are still making their way through it and they are not scared. You see a taxi reversing at the moment. I don't know what work they are going to do at the moment that makes it so urgent that they can't stay where they can't park elsewhere, and yet they have to use this side, and they go towards their work. So we'll make our way towards Abosokai and all, but for the Bayerman traffic lights at the moment, and the lights aren't working. The lights here aren't working as well. So it's also adding to the chaos of the situation. So everybody's doing, everybody trying, everybody forcing, and the number of cars at the traffic light which have been parked. Okay, this big vehicle is blocking it at the moment, but there's a bevy of vehicles here that have been parked for a while. moving at all. They are not moving at all. Yes, so this is a situation here. Vehicles parked, stranded workers, and then just a scene of chaos. Just a scene of chaos here, Boscov.
I want to see you. Hey, Charlie. This is amazing. And why are people driving? I don't understand these people in the trucks and the buses. They think they are high up, eh? Water can enter your engine. Look at this yellow guy. I think he's stuck.
Yeah.
The guy in the yellow truck is basically stuck. This is like a lake city, you know, without the stilts, you know. This is just madness.
And Kafui, my fear is that I pray that we don't have any electric wire falling into any of the water bodies. That would have been the
that's a recipe
for disaster. So if they are listening to us, ECG can do something about it. If they have not already turned off the transformer in that area.
Is it a combination of construction, lack of gutters, lack of common sense? I mean, what's happening here? This is crazy, oh. And waterborne diseases.
Everything, Kafui.
Wow.
Everything.
Wow.
And I can imagine that this has been happening almost every year.
But I think this is pronounced this year. This is just crazy. There's no road. You can't see road, oh. Wow.
So what is our evacuation strategy? Because if somebody gets stuck, like the yellow vehicle that is stuck in the middle, how do we evacuate them?
Graphic Road, right? This is Graphic Road area. So let's try. I'm trying to just orient. So Abosoka area. I'm trying to see the landmarks. Can you see the church anywhere? I see. Oh, wow. I'm trying to find out where the construction is because the overhead. This is serious. The water has nowhere to run. Oh.
Yeah.
The water has nowhere to run.
But is that the same place they are doing the construction?
Yes, because yes, there's an overhead, Obechebe Lamte overhead, overpass in that area. I'm trying to see where this is. Man, I took a good decision not to drive down this road this morning, you know. I took my beach road coolly. Yeah. Wow. The picture speaks for itself. You don't even have to say anything. This is just crazy. And that's a
right. Yes,
and somebody is he has seen that the track has broken down and he's driving. There's a guy in a white vehicle.
So
this cannot be brave. This is stupid. Is he late for an appointment? Dr. said this is just amazing.
It is amazing. That's why I'm asking what's our evacuation strategy? Because I would expect somebody to be at the other side, to be forewarning them and then directing them, guiding them as to what they should do, and all of that.
This is around the Awudom area, is that correct? Going to Graphic Road? I'm just trying to orient myself.
And Cav, this is a whole day wasted. Nobody can do anything. Productivity level will be low and nothing happens today.
So this is you're coming into the main road, and then is this where you have Bayman? Okay, I see where we are now. Let's take traffic, right, to take it towards Abosokai. So that way, heading towards the left or towards the north is Graphic. Yes, Kaneshi side. And where is that? And that's a drain? Yes. And that's a canal. This is a whole canal. Oh. That was Bayman. This Toyota. I see Toyota. Okay. And then the other side is heading towards Obechebe. Okay, so heading up towards Obechebe, Toyota on your right, heading towards Kaneshi, if you are going towards the north, as we see it. And that company is that's Toyota. It's a lake now. It's Lake Toyota. No, that's what it is. That's just what it is. Wow. Former GH1 up there. Yes, it's also a lake. Why are people driving in this stuff? and then that's a junction. Somebody deciding whether to enter that. No. Just go back. Just go back and go home. I mean, just go home.
Yeah.
Look,
it's
why?
Sad. It's sad. It's sad.
I'm just speechless, you know.
Yeah. But where are the city authorities?
That is the question.
Where are the city
authorities? Where are the city authorities? This is an AMA issue, Accra Metropolitan Assembly.
Not quite, because Accra Metropolitan Assembly is restricted to the Accra main areas. So this will be another municipal assembly, but we always encourage them to support each other to manage issues.
And definitely there has to be some NADMO involvement here.
Definitely.
At this point.
Definitely, because NADMO is in all the assemblies. But I'm sure they will be there. They will be there pretty soon. If Mr. Isi is on his way coming,
yeah,
we can call him and ask him.
And you tune in on Facebook and see what's happening on the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation link. Please share the link to as many people as possible. Let them know what is happening. Do not take your vehicle, your body, your soul to this area. Graphic Road, forget it. Forget it. This is just madness. People who are driving in this are being foolhardy.
Yes.
You know, because your engine can get messed up. You know, it's like New Orleans, man. Tell me, what are they saying on the message board? Because this is just amazing.
I mean, the message is alive with messages on the flooding situation in parts of the capital this morning. Thanks for joining us. And if you are watching us from any part of Accra or beyond, tell us where you're reaching us from and send some videos of the situation in your part. Can I just rant that this morning I saw some children heading to school at the crack of dawn. Kafui, I just cannot understand how anyone can send the children out in this kind of weather. And I am so upset because at Circle there was an incident where one of these school children fell into the flooding waters and they had to be rescued by a certain gentleman just so the waters do not take them away. And I was so upset. I understand that sometimes the parents have to be at work and they have to get on with other things. But my goodness, can you not send the children out in this kind of weather? I am so upset. I'm trying to hold myself together, but don't send the children out. Even adults are struggling. That headmaster will not be in school today. That teacher will not be in school today. Definitely do not send the children out in this kind of condition. Please, let's keep those little ones safe. And I'll get to your messages in just a moment. 05555610034. And this is my own impassioned plea to the parents out there. Let's get to some of the messages on the screen. Good morning, Kafui. The new construction around Tema Beach to Nungwa is already being partitioned by hawkers, and Tema West Assembly is watching for hawkers to gain permanency to their stay, and a lawyer will be asking for relocation. Let's help and save ourselves. Bele Ansan is saying this. Rhapsodies, a tall one on some religious matters. This flood is a disgrace to Accra as the capital of Ghana. It should be changed immediately to another town or city. Our leaders only know how to chop with two hands, forgetting that they have a generation to think about. Kobe is reaching us from Tadi. Kobe, what's the flood situation in Tadi? Do you think perhaps we should move the capital to Takrady? Is it even any better? It's a sad situation. I heard people calling for city authorities to do something. I hope same persons will not be talking about human rights and sensitivity of the officialdom if they start to decongest the central business area for reconstruction. It's a key point you've raised there. You didn't tell us where you're reaching us from. But this one says, where's my Queen Titi? We are all here. Thank you for asking. The district's Metropolitan and Municipal Assembly have failed Ghana. This is because they do not care about sanitation issues in the assemblies at all. Do they monitor the communities within their areas as how people handle rubbish in their jurisdiction? Do they monitor the drains in their communities before rains? Hashtag GTV Breakfast Show. And it's a hashtag we love to see. Thank you for sending that message to us. Quaino Mahmoud joins and says, good morning, GTV. Finally, Accra has become a swimming pool. Watching live from Accra, New Town. Well, you may be laughing now, smiling now, but if it gets to your doorstep, it will not be a smiling matter, I would say. Good morning, Kafui. Please get the drone to have a closer look in front of Toyota. Looks like there is a black substance over the water. Is it oil? as well. Our team on the ground will look into that situation and tell us what the details are if they are able to find it. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, in fact, my heart bleeds this country called Ghana. I'm so sad and worried to be a Ghanaian at this moment. We should admit it. Our leaders have failed us big time. This is a problem that keeps on occurring every year, and our leaders don't have a permanent solution to this problem. We are told government will spend $200 million every year to tackle this problem, and I ask, what is the impact? Are we to say our engineers cannot be brought together for money to be provided for them to solve this problem once and for all? Nobody should blame the attitudes of Ghanaians for this. It is a failure of our leaders in this country, period. That's what Hamza is saying. Let's see if we can get some more messages. And you are sending us some pictures as well. I'm happy to see them. We'll try and download, and then we'll see what you're trying to communicate to us as we go along. Kav, do I have time to send some more? Yes, indeed. And I saw this over the weekend, and this is a daily graphic edition. Was in the 1960s, thereabout. And it says, Daily Graphic, 18th April 1960 on Accra floods. 60 years later, we will have the same headline on Monday, May 23rd, and indeed it turned out to be true. It's a bypass that goes to STC and Mechanical Lloyd with Zenith Bank in the corner, Toyota on the graphic road. So you are keeping a keen eye on our drone shots there. Tuesday, blessings to you as well, especially to those who are caught up in this situation this morning. Ghana Fire Service is partly to be blamed for this flooding problem in Ghana. They are not up and doing. You can research on their duties and responsibilities for its establishment. Nana from North Legon is saying so. Victoria Latte joins and is asking who we are. We are GBC, and thank you for joining us. We'll be sending you some of our links as well. See the rubbish. The rubbish is in people's homes. It's the flood waters that goes to the homes to bring out the rubbish, and it's caused by the engineers. Well, those are your thoughts. Have we more messages here for you? Sammy joins and says, good morning, GTV. Church leaders especially must be quick to accept foreign people pretending to be pastors who can turn out to be terrorists, wolves in sheep's clothing. Well, I don't know how this is related to the flooding situation, but those are your thoughts. We pray for continual peace for the Nkranza people, and I think that would be a good prayer to have as well, because as for the flooding situation, messages plenty.
All righty. We're going to get some more on that, but thank you very much, Thelma, for that. And I share in your rant and your plea for parents to keep their children home. Pack your children at home. It's not safe to be going out in certain parts of Accra. Thank you so much. We'll be going to Ireland shortly, but quick message. It says, don't be surprised. Get to Shiashi and Kaswa Toll Booth. It's sad. As for Kaswa Toll Booth, the Gan East Municipal Chief Executive has been an assembly member and then MCE. Nothing has been done. That's your comment there, and we will keep an eye on those issues. But we want to keep an eye on where Alan is right now with his black and white, and he's going to report to us, I believe, from Asylum Down. Alan, hi. You are live on GTV Breakfast, protected from the rain. Others not so fortunate. What can you report?
Hi, good morning, Kav, and thank you very much for coming to us. I'm currently somewhere around Asylum Down, and so my particular location is as you come off the bridge from Accra Newtown and you're making your way towards Adabraka or parts of Circle. Iran Clinic is to your left. The junction directly opposite Iran Clinic is where I am, and as you drive on that and you make a bend, you come to these houses on your left and on your right. I am just going over to point you into the house. This white house you see in front of me, if you look closely, you would find there is a black line up between the windows. That black line was the level of the water between last night and this morning. And interestingly, they've had to break down their walls in order for the water to be let out of the house. There's still some more water sitting in the house, and it is very sad to think that when I arrived here, there were people trying to salvage stuff from their homes and try to get them out. They've actually let the front gate also opened, and the walls towards the front gate has also been broken down, all in an effort to allow the amount of water that's sitting in the house to make its way out. It is not only this house that's affected so badly by the water, but houses beyond this, behind the house and also on the sides of the house, are all or have all been affected. If I pan my camera around to my left-hand side of the street, you will find this house has equally been so badly affected, so much so that this was the level of the water. As you can see, this was the level of the water when the rain peaked during the night. One interesting thing I will bring to your attention, Kafui, I found also some cars parked, some lying by their side on this very road. And so I asked the guys working around here and also standing by the cars. I quickly asked them what had happened to these cars. And they're saying, well, these cars don't come from here. They don't belong to anybody from around here. They've been brought here by the rain. And so if you woke up this morning, you live in and around Asylum Down, and your car is not in your front drive, please make your way as you're going towards Iran. Come down towards the name. I'll give you the name of the road in a minute, and look around. You probably find your car somewhere there, and if it is still motorable, then you may move it. But if not, then you may have to get your mechanic to come around and help you. The name of the road is SCA4 Road, SCA4 Road, and so that's the name of the road as it is there. And these are the cars parked around, as I mentioned not too long ago. The cars you see parked out here, this taxi has been left there by the rain. It wasn't originally parked there, I am told. And then these ones as well, they've all just been brought here by the rain. This one was lucky, it was left in the dead middle of the road. And so it's turned the road into a kind of one-lane road. You can't drive on the same road as this car as is parked here. Most sad is the homes around here who, as we speak now, have had to vacate. Occupants have had to vacate it in order to perhaps find safe ground. I would also seize this opportunity to perhaps sound a word of caution to those who are still in their homes and trying to salvage stuff. Please make sure your electrical gadgets have all been turned off. Your electrical gadgets. The young man you see in the trotro there is telling me about a scene I've just come away from, which I'll return to very shortly. In the gutters around Asylum Down, you have cars actually lying in the gutter, all being brought there by the water. I'll try and catch a short interview with this woman who is trying to pass on a message. As I was saying, if your electrical gadgets are on, please turn them off. They may likely charge the water in your home and get you electrocuted. It is not safe to even try and salvage if you are in there. Over in GTV no ne or your GTV no be ane mini baban kene
mini kaja man kene bo jam kene tumo 9 10 ni mo bon ka ne fi be pa ten ne wa shikome ko ni mo ba ne je no ko bo tumi feji eji no ko no ko no fi ano efite wo se fe kumu
min question I mean chichene in na ke any so mo tun yo jeme fe kashin
tati de hu enne na kai no ni mena una ka wale be no ba fe we because ni waka asat na waka bo you nepo ka je na po wale be no ba fe wo ba ho
I see and you sure I can not move baba around ni ameba kwani amefi no na ba fe me
ameba dumo shie je ma wo me ba kwa around wo she me fe baller wona me ba low baller ha o
I'm being called to some nearby homes as well. You see all these women standing around are at the mercy of the water at the moment. They have lost their homes and they can't go back into it. These young men are asking me to come with them to go and see something else. Kaf, I'll hand over to you. When we get to the actual scene, I'll try and bring it back to you as I find them. You don't have anywhere to sleep. Oh, really very sorry. Really very sorry. I'm sure she should be coming to your aid.
I don't think NABO gives clothes. I don't know about that, but well, hey, who knows? It could be part of their mandate. When Mr. Yisi comes here, I'm sure Thelma will ask him those questions. We have a release from the Ghana Police Service with respect to the flooding. We also have another development on a daring daylight street robbery in Dansuma, and there's some developments on that. But before that, let's get the flooding release from the Ghana Police, and Thelma is here to help us hear how it sounds.
So this is actually very, very recent. Yes. It just came through a few minutes ago, and we have it now on our screens. The Ghana Police Service Public Alert Notice. We're experiencing flooding on some principal streets and highways within the Accra, Tema metropolitan areas and beyond due to the downpour this evening. In view of this, we are advising members of the public to remain indoors. Motorists and commuters are also being cautioned against using the graphic road towards Kaneshi and Agboglushi due to the rising level of the Odo River. In addition to the above, motorists and commuters should exercise great caution when using the La Beach Peshi Lagoon Road towards Teshinungwa, as well as roads that are linked by culverts and bridges. Patrol teams are in the communities to ensure the safety of everyone. However, anyone who is stranded due to the downpour and requires help should contact the police on the emergency numbers 1855 191 or 0302 787373. The police and other principal safety stakeholders are on high alert to assist. So, CAF, that's what we are being told by the police service. We have been to the graphic roads and Kaneshi area heading towards Agboglushi, and we have seen what the rising levels of the Odo is doing to that community. So even the police is saying stay home. And this is where if I see any school child, I'll just begin to vent, because stay at home is the order today. If you haven't left home already, stay home. Work can wait. Everything else can wait.
Thelma is on the same wavelength with the Ghana Police.
Thank you.
Champion Jimbo.
Stay at home. The headmaster is not coming to work today. The teacher is not coming to school today.
Stay at home, says Auntie Thelma. All right? Stay at home. Stay at home. Thank you so much, Thelma. Thelma, we'll come back and read another report, another release from the Ghana Police on this. We're going to step aside from the filth and the mess as a result of the roads to a very daring daylight robbery, and this was happening at exhibition roundabout Dansuma. Check what happens to these people. Lady carrying her bag, the guys circle back. They circle back.
Two riders on a bike.
Yes, one of them jumps off the back. The pillion guy jumps off.
Grabs the bag. Lady grabs back. Run. Pulled her down. Beat her up.
Wow.
Managed to get the bag, hopped back on the bike, and rode off.
Yeah.
The woman was very lucky.
Yes, it's very hard to separate a woman from her bag, but this is dangerous.
Yep.
This is hurt by this.
If they had machetes, if they had any offensive weapon, apart from the hand that he was using to strike her,
you know?
He
and
would
I think she was just almost home, or I don't know.
It looks like she's in front of her house,
Can
and then
you
someone
imagine?
comes, opens the gate,
Wow.
and she's narrating the incident to that person.
Wow.
But look at how he drags her onto the floor, hits her hand to make sure she left the bag so he could just run off with it. Definitely don't struggle with the robbers.
No, but there's been a development to this particular case.
One person picked up.
Yes, so there's a release. The police has issued a release on this, and it will be up on the screen pretty soon. They seem to be working quite fast.
Imagine being almost at home, Cav.
Yes.
Almost there.
Yeah.
Right in front of your premises, and then this happening. It tells you that they may have probably been laying in wait, waiting for her to come around, and then they were able to do this. They probably knew her.
Yeah.
I'm sure that if they did like an identification parade, she may be able to identify those guys, perhaps. So the police has picked one person up. The other guy is in the wind, but the police has given the assurance that they will get him to face justice. So that report should be on our screens as well pretty shortly. It's floods on one hand and robbers on another.
Security issues of paramount interest. So this is it. Public notice from the Ghana Police Service.
So the police service 10 hours ago, we grabbed this, and a special anti-robbery squad has carried out an intelligence-led operation in which a robbery suspect was arrested while another is currently being pursued for a daylight street robbery at Dansuman. We want to assure the public that we shall
get the other suspects to face justice. So
and the guy at the back,
and
the guy at the back has been arrested.
It looks like it.
Yes, still wearing the same T-shirt.
The other one is still in the wind, and police are on a manhunt for the rider because the passenger has been picked up with the bag.
Yes, thank you very much, Tama. Safety issues. You see a lot of people walking in the street on their phones, holding a big bag, and I think people have to be a little bit more. Yes, I suggest that women should have, not even women, just people. You must have a pepper spray available, not in your bag. It should be in your hand. Yes, so when the guy comes, you spray the living daylights out of him.
Yes, basic security precautionary measures are very important, but let us give the police thumbs up.
This is fast.
For their swift response, and even to the floods and everything. You see, this is the kind of policing we need in this country. But citizens, we must take our security in our own hands. Let us take precautionary measures. This woman could have called somebody to open the gate or to come and stand in front of the gate.
Yeah.
These people couldn't have done what they did.
It was so quiet.
It was so quiet. The place was quiet, and that was it.
If he had a weapon, he would have hurt this woman.
Oh yes, yes.
Wow. Just in front of your house.
Yes.
Barely 10 meters.
And the woman had the courage to even get up again and walk. I mean, she's a very strong woman.
Strong woman. And just walked straight to her house. The gate opened. Too late though. But the good news is that one of them has been apprehended.
Has been arrested, yes.
And hopefully the other guy will be caught. Yeah, these people. Yeah, so CCTV, you see, street cameras. I'm wondering whether this was a street camera or somebody else's. This is a street camera, CCTV camera. So this is great. This is why we need them.
Yes.
Yes. This is why you need them. If it were happening in the night, I'm wondering whether this place would have been illuminated. We need street lights.
Yeah, the street
in addition
lights,
to the street cameras.
But even the street cameras we have now, they have lights on them.
Okay, so there's illumination on them.
Yes, they have lights on them, solar panel. So they have the illumination and they will be able to get them. Except that people must take security precautions.
Big time.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. You should be careful about your environment. You should know where you go. You should know who is trailing you and all of that. Never trust anyone.
No. It's not anything you wish on anybody. But have you ever experienced something like this before where somebody attacked you?
No, I have not.
Never.
I have not. Because I'm very careful at where I go, what I do, and I have not. And I pray it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. Yeah, it must be really, really traumatizing,
It doesn't happen.
Yeah. So kudos to the police. Yeah, systems are working. We need to take a visit to their CCTV HQ one of these days. We'll do the show from there one of these days. Ghana Police, we are coming. Yeah, so we want to see exactly how they do this because this is quite fast, very commendable.
It is. But I'm wondering whether they open up the entire system to you. It's a security installation, and the way the system works. Once you open it up, people will be a step ahead of you. So they also have a way of managing it. But I commend them. IGP Dampara is doing wonders.
Yes.
And I think I give him thumbs up.
Indeed. We're going to switch over to some messages from Thelma, because I'm sure there are quite a few coming in. Issues of the flooding. Is it just Accra? We want to know whether other parts of Ghana have also been affected. And then issues of personal security. What did you make of that attack on this lady just a couple of meters from her home? And the swift response from the Ghana police, highly commendable. Double thumbs up, Ghana police. We a boy. Yeah, we give you thumbs up when thumbs up.
You give credit where credit is due.
All right.
Okay, messages coming in. Our WhatsApp number again, 05555611034. You're still talking a lot about the flooding, and some of you are offering solutions. Good. Just like Moses Atito from Atito is offering us right now. My simple solution to reduce flooding in Atito: all pavements should be removed and replaced with beautiful flowers in our homes. This will allow the rainwaters to find their ways deep into the soil. Big gutters and drainages will not alone solve the flooding situation. Good morning, GTV. Good morning to you too. Senior Moses. Atito is your village.
Yes.
Someone is just saddened by all the scenes that we are seeing this morning. Here are some videos that someone is sending us from their area, Dakuman. And it's a mess here, is what the message is saying. There are no engineers in Ghana. Check out Kaneshi First Light behind this chapel. The water broke the wall and everybody had to rush to the top of the story building of Universal Utility Services. Please, GTV, bring your drones to Dakuman Junction, Dakuman, Bubiashi, Atiko, and Atiko Junction. Do keep safe there if you can get to higher grounds. Leviticus Power is still on the issue about church leaders failing the congregation. These flooding problems here and there, when we stop stomach direction partisan politics. With the flood issues, this is what will always happen when the big positions are always given to those who have nothing to show except certificates. And that's what Poyoyo is saying. Miss Joy has sent a couple of messages and is saying this is somewhere Kasua in the Tuba area. That does not look like a good situation. No, Definitely stay out of those waters. You don't know what the current underneath would be like. Hashtag we love to see GTV Breakfast. It's shambolic act, but I attribute these incidents to the unstable economic crisis. Thank God for her life. I'm guessing he's referring to the lady who was robbed. Yes. And he's saying thank God for her life. We agree with the thank God for her life bit. This is GTV, please. This is our area, Ga Odumase, after the government school. Please, 2 of big men's buildings. Jeff Asari is what he's saying. We don't know who those big men are, and we cannot independently verify. What we can see is that video that you've sent us. Because I need to view it first before I put it on the screen in case it has some sensitive information. The Ghana police needs to be checked very well because the bad ones among them. Ghana actually is ruled by unqualified leaders. Look at this little rain and just see what is going on. Our leaders will tell us they want to buy new V8 to share among themselves. Many people are always entering this country really without checking them where they are coming from. And that's a lot you're saying there. Kwame, thank you for sending that message to us. Mr. Yao joined, I was here when 2001 flood was all over everywhere. Since then, Ghana celebrates National Floods Day, which is good for us. I witnessed a woman in a wooden structure carried away. I'm not sure that's a very good thing for that woman who was in that situation. Here's another long one. The various assemblies are cash-strapped. It will take funds and continuous education. We need to change our attitude. Dumping of refuse indiscriminately is a problem. Open drains. We ought to stop constructing drains that are open. We create the problem, then we turn around to call on them to do something. We ought to change our attitude. This is not the work of the president. The various assemblies ought to work. With cash. If they don't have cash, they can't work. Well, money makes the world go round. Yep. Degradation of our water bodies is the cause of our woes. We need a comprehensive approach, the new drains, stop using our natural waterways as sewage channels. Finally, all buildings on waterways, officials who give permits must lose their gratuity and pensions. We must jail them. Agbena is what Ni Atiko is saying. All right. Do I have time to read just one some more? And then we'll go to jail. Okay, Eric. And as long as a country, because of dirty politics, we cannot concentrate to build more affordable houses with better drainage system to cover our population, it will continue till we get a better system. And there's some more questions. Eric is reaching us from Awoshi. So messages coming in, and we'll have a more extended version of the flood conversation a bit later on. When I take the end of the program, I'll hand it over back to Kaf.
Thank you. I receive it. Yep. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
We'll go to Jay now. J for Jesus. What does Jay have to say with where he is reporting to us from? Jay Gabra, what's going on? Where are you? What can you report this wet Tuesday morning?
Thank you so much, Boskap. So from the Toyota Ghana Limited, we made our way towards Pambrom here in Abosokai, and this is what you can see presently, a lot of chaos. This side is heading towards the newly constructed bridge, which are going on at the moment. Unfortunately, I don't believe there were any drains on this side owing to that construction. So what you see right now is lots of the road, like half of it, is just completely off. And you see that there are some vehicles which are completely spoiled. And then on the other side as well, you find that there's been an accident. Looking at the kind of destruction that the vehicles have been to, you can tell that it was quite severe. We haven't really found out what exactly happened, but from the it's like the glass, the driver came through the glass. So it's a scene of total pandemonium here. So the road is totally uncovered, and there are a number of businesses over here that have been affected. For instance, there's UBA, there's Fidelity Bank, there's Airtel Tigo, there's Access Bank, and I'm sure there are also a number of people, a number of businesses on the other side. And you notice there are lots of people who are surrounding the area. Just some of them are getting agitated, asking what exactly is causing all these problems. And just on the other side of the road, you notice that there are supposed to be drains over there, but because the drains were covered, there was a lot of debris. It's like the place got choked, and it's like that's where the vehicles are passing at the moment. You can see if you look at the eye in the sky right now, the kind of rubbish and the kind of materials they are using for the construction. So the police service and the fire service are trying to unclog these drains so that the water will flow through, and then traffic may go smoothly. So on the other side, you notice that the road is completely, half of it is completely destroyed. That's the Pambrom traffic light area. So this is what is happening here at the moment. A number of people here gathered around, just lamenting about the situation, asking what exactly went wrong. And it's like people just going on, and it's like we can't blame politicians, we have to blame ourselves, it's rubbish. I guess it's all the blame game and all that, and I think more rhetoric. But we need to find a more lasting solution. Because if you look at the road, it's terrible. It's just terrible. Just look at the state of the road. So for those who are heading towards Graphic Road, who are heading towards Obechebi and Obechebi Lamte, and you are coming from perhaps Kaneshi, heading towards this area, this is what the road looks like. Earlier, you saw vehicles using the oncoming lane, and this is one of the reasons why, that they have to avoid all this. There are some gentlemen in the shop right now who are just shouting, just agitated, but it's not really helping. It's like because they are just talk, and then, well, so it's like for the businesses here and for the people here at Abosokai, Pambrom, this is the situation at the moment. If you can avoid this side, I tell you, please do so at all costs. It's just terrible here this morning.
Jay, can you speak to some of the people around? Would love to hear what they are saying. Speak to the people around and let's get a sense of how they've been acting with this. Jay, if you can speak to a couple of the people around, we'll be really happy, you know. So this is Jay Gabra.
Yes, so it's like maybe the way they are agitated and all that, I don't know. They are saying, so I just want to give them a chance to say what they want to say. Boss, good morning. No?
Morning, Professor.
What's your friend saying?
Your friend Nanayao.
Nanayao, then I'll walk out.
Professor, yes, started free. Equine started some constructing. Ever since some started some constructing equine one, boss. Yenye who said not more official. Abba, because we know say NADMO, they are responsible for flooding and disasters in the country. Intercomo started when we should have seen NADMO officials try to give the constructors say, oh, yeah, mobile be equine. It's Mumpai Gatas and far, but then no, you won't move. But then once in a Hanayan, we will be seeing say NADMO officials will come in their suits just to come and take pictures for nothing. Yes, why should it be so? In a country which we are calling ourselves independent country, why should it be so?
I see. Our dream being neither side.
We have no gutters. We can't drain sport. They are saying firm. We have no gutters at all. We have no gutters. This was to be a main gutter in here, but then because of the construction, Oma blocky. Okay, anymore so Oma blocky. It's your tour. Here is in a total mess. We put it just let's say 8 hours rain for you. Let's take a whole 24 hours rain. What will happen in this particular location?
Thank you so much. Boss, morning, no. But your friend saying?
Your friend Enoch.
Good morning. But then I walk out.
Oh, I didn't perform yet. I say, why won't say has no a capital town? Because of say, gutters no, and getting you. I'm so you so much, Kashina Mumbai say. It's a someone you, Neum Kais and Sutua, and on my gutters and Cassia, Nen Sutanako. You say, when I'm a main gutter. No more than I didn't ever me at the end containing your balance. Why shall Captain Naya Quanya to see Quano Mary and do 5 months to Quanya to know. It's when I acquaint man as a quechi. Eh? Oh my God, a queen man as a quechi. when you can you quit. We say, Abrafo say, young Kong say, baby, I say, Capital Town and Hanging, you queen man, I say, quit.
Thank you so much, Enoch. Boss, morning, no. But you're say.
I'm this one.
This one. But what will be kind
Oh yeah, there's nothing that I can say much about it because it has been something that keeps on happening. You know, we are in Ghana, we keep on seeing these things, exactly this place. Whenever it rains heavily, this is what we used to see.
Including the road like this?
Oh yeah, this has happened before, some years back. But since none of our people took very good care of the road, they did what they did earlier on. That got the road spots, and they are doing the same thing.
Do you stay around here?
No, I don't live around.
Okay, but you usually
this is my place of work. I work here.
Been affected in any way?
Yeah, it has really affected our business because today we are expecting customers to come. But considering the nature of the road and the way the flood also got into our stores, it has gotten us some of our engine spots. So we can't even give it to a customer. You understand? Yeah.
So right now, do you have anything to say perhaps to government, the NADMO authorities, anybody at all?
Well, the NADMO authorities, I really know that they knew it. But some of our people used to give deaf ears to some of these things. They really know. They're only expecting the situation to come. When it comes, then they come to the TV stations to be speaking to the public. But meanwhile, they really have that kind of intention in their mind that this is a floody area. So they need to at least do something about it before. But they all see to it to be nothing, which is very, very bad.
Thank you so much, Desmond. And sorry for your loss. Thank you, boss. Good morning.
Good morning. You're from Joe.
Joe.
As I say, me Juma. Yeah, me Juma. Sunday no. I hadn't to that until I'm fairly. Until I'm fairly, no Sunday, Saturday, and so I see Sunday no. Ne to 2 years. Me beside guys no more. Me Juma contract Juma no. Say government no. You know the mama away for 1.5 years. Some 5 years Juma no. Inti sisi ano muntu mi solve any problem e wa ha sisi this some year soro adwuma ni wi and so matuma ye fom adwuma no na mi say side e be ha ye adwuma wa no say dawi the only thing on my ya na say e bi say e bi o ma ba fele no ma bi to say e bi o ma ba fele because o muntu mi nye fom adwuma na bra o mo nye soro adwuma ni wi ye.
Thank you. It is, so a lot of people giving us the reasons why this is happening at the moment. Owing to the road construction, this side was already destroyed, but then again, because of the rains at the moment, it just took off the road. Somebody described it as somebody's carpet. So here at Pambrom, here at Obosokai, a lot of agitated business owners where we are reporting live from. Back to you, Kaf, in the studio.
All right, Jay. Oh man, this is sad. And Valerie was asking, what was that? Was that a road? It was a road. It was a road. It's not a canal, and it's just sad because there are health implications, there are cost implications. There's money that government wants to raise, money that will be spent to clear things up, and the small budget after COVID and Ukraine and Russia and fuel prices, everything. Thomas, some messages, please.
Okay, so here's the hashtag we love to see GTV Breakfast, and use this hashtag across all social media handles, and we will read your messages. A constable, General Constable Rafiu Opong from the Bachuna Divisional Police Headquarters said, let's all stop ranting and be disciplined citizens. 99.99% of the citizens are disciplined. Let's be disciplined and be concerned. And so that's the advice from the constable. Another advice saying disciplined ranting is good. Yeah. We should also stop building in waterways, turning our gutters into rubbish dumps, and in disciplined behaviors. Carlos Magnus is reaching us from Tamale. Olivers has an interesting thing. This issue is Ghana card. Most people in Sunyani migrated from Niger. So all the flooding things that we are talking about, Olivers wants us to talk about the Ghana card situation. Perhaps we'll get some answers for you, Oliver. Thank you for sending that message to us. I'll go straight to the top and I'm trying to get a sense of what's happening here. I can't read through it quickly enough. After using the money for the road, then e-levy will come to attack us. I don't get where this is going, but those are your thoughts and not the thoughts of GBC. Good morning, I'm Godfred. I may ask that it's sure the leaders think of our generation. I don't know whether the NAPCO organization are in their it's quite a bit for me to assimilate right now, but I'm guessing you are talking about NAPCO. We'll get to NAPCO in a little while. Good morning, Kafue. In fact, tell Ashaiman Municipal Chief Executive and his engineer to work on the road that links from Kowanaso Junction to Starlight School Park through Ashaiman Community Hospital East, because it is one of the major roads which is having 2 health centers on its side. Ashaiman Polyclinic also there, whilst it also gets flooded every year. So that's a quite lengthy one. Vincent Azuma is reaching us from Ashaiman. Thank you for sending that message. Good morning, GTV. I'm Precious and I'm very happy the police has caught the thief. Ghanaians are supposed to stop throwing rubbish into the gutters because it's very clear that everywhere has been choked and it's very bad. Akan says the pictures shown about the robbers and the one alleged arrested may not struggling with a woman. A quick glance at the picture shows that the guy who actually engaged himself with the woman is in a short sleeve t-shirt, but the alleged arrested suspect is in long sleeve round shirt. Well, he probably was very smart to quickly change that. So forensic investigations going on here just by analyzing the video and the picture. Thank you for sending that. I like people who are meticulous and they pay attention to detail. Emmanuel Mensah said, good morning, Kafui. The media should take weather reports and forecasts more seriously and give hourly weather bulletins, especially during the rainy season, to warn the public of any impending raids. That way we can help save lives. And yes, we do, Emmanuel. Every morning, just after the news at 6 a.m. with Multi T, we do reach out to the Ghana Met Office and we get daily updates from the head of forecasting, Madam Felicity Ahafianyo. So watch GTV's breakfast show every morning, and during the breakfast news at 6, we do get you weather updates every morning. And also throughout the day, be sure that GBC will pass that information on across its various platforms. For sending that across to us. Do I hand it over back to you, Cap? How can we create roads without gutters? Bam Clement is asking from Chopoli.
He's my guy.
He's your guy.
I always ask that question. I think we can end on that.
Roads without gutters.
Roads without gutters.
It's like reporters without bodies.
That one is good. This one is bad. But thank you so much, Thelma.
You, Cap.
I'm wondering which engineer supervised this road. You see, we've gotten to a point in time in our country where these engineers will have to be cited for being professionally negligent.
Completely.
Without
a shadow of a doubt.
No.
Indeed. It's all been floods, but let's not take our eyes off the ball. There's an issue of Achimota Forest and wills and who gets what. And there's a statement from the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources that has come out. They promised to get to the bottom of it through an investigation. Of course, the paper edited or managed by Manasseh Azuri Awuni broke this story of the will that was supposed to have been the will of Mr. Kojo Owusu Efrie, aka Sir John, former General Secretary of the MPP, former CEO of the Forestry Commission, willing certain parts of the forest to friends and relatives and things like that. And so there is a press release from the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources Achimota Forest / Kojo Owusu Efrie's alleged last will and testament. And Thelma will read that for us to close out this conversation.
Okay, so the ministry is saying the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources refers to its press statement dated 22nd May 2022, in which the ministry committed to inquire into the allegations relating to the acquisition of parcels of land at the Achimota Forest and the Sakumono Ramza site by the late Chief Executive Officer CEO of the Forestry Commission, Kojo Owusu Efrie, Sir John. Preliminary inquiries reveal that the alleged will in question is a subject matter of litigation and contestation in the courts. Further checks at the Lands and Forestry Commission, the repositories of the records of the lands in question, show no record of ownership of lands at the Achimota Forest or the Sakumono Ramza site by the late Kojo Owusu Efrie. That said, given the totality of the circumstances of the said allegations, I, as the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, have directed the Lands and Forestry Commissions to deem any ownership of lands both in the Achimota Forest and the Sakumono Ramza site by the late Kojo Owusu Efrie as void and are to take the appropriate actions accordingly. For the avoidance of doubt, the bequeathing of the aforesaid lands, if established, will not pass any interest or title to the named beneficiaries in the lands the subject matter of the alleged will shall remain public lands, whether or not it falls within the de-gazetted lands pursuant to EI 144. And government will act on any improper acquisition of any public lands, regardless of how it was procured, whether now or in the past, and the Achimota forest lands will not be an exception. And signed the Honorable Samuel A. Jinapo, MP, Minister.
Thank you very much, Thelma. That press release brings us to the end of headlines. Dr. Osai, did you have anything you wanted to say?
Not for now.
Not for now. Thank you so much. For now, you've been a wonderful panelist, and I've enjoyed your submissions. Thank you so much. Dr. Eric Odro Osai is the Director General of the Internal Audit Agency. Anything exciting that we should look forward to from the agency? Are you still sending out your love letters to people?
Oh, definitely.
Who have put out their audited accounts?
We've reached the first quarter defaulters list, and the Finance Minister is taking action on them. He started activating the sanctions regime under the Public Financial Management Act.
Okay.
We are in the process of compiling defaulters list for the second quarter.
Okay. What are the sanctions for those who default?
Those who default will withhold your allocations.
Okay.
Some can be demoted.
Ooh.
Those who tenure of office has expired and they needed renewal will not be renewed.
Who will be demoted?
People can be demoted.
Okay, people who are responsible for that account.
That's right. We call them heads of covered entities. So the chief executive. And then we have also issued directives on expenditure rationalization and revenue mobilization measures.
The CEO can be demoted.
The CEO, you can be demoted, and some of the CEOs have fixed tenure of office. So 4 years, the first 4 years, another 4 years. So before they renew your tenure for another term, you look at all the KPIs. And among the KPIs must include submission of internal audit report as evidence that control systems are working.
The Internal Audit Agency is working.
We are.
Thank you so much, Dr. And hope to see you next week, Tuesday, God willing.
See you too, my brother.
Next conversation has to do with perennial flooding in Accra. Is this decades-old problem solvable? And most importantly, what is being done now, as we see what's happening as parts of Accra have been turned into low-grade Venice, lake cities without stilts, So the conversation will be moderated by Thelma Taki, and her guests are Dr. Simon Sovwe, Deputy Director, Head of Research, Technology and Innovation Unit at the Environmental Protection Agency, and Mr. George Isi, who is the Director of Communications, National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO for short. So it's NADMO, EPA, and Thelma for the conversation. Your questions, your comments, your suggestions, your videos of the Wahala you are going through to 055-556-1034. Start sending your questions to NADMO. We want a full, frank conversation here, but solution-oriented. So you stick with us. And remember also today that the National Security Ministry will be launching a media campaign on national security awareness. And it's going to be happening today from 10 tomorrow. I'm sure we will discuss it in the news. My name is Kafui. I'm going to take a little awake break, and Thelma will take it over with conversations on flooding. Let me flood my throat right now.
Coming live from the capital, this is the Breakfast Show.
Scenes of water everywhere in Accra today from our guys on the ground. Daryl and Jay have brought us some scenes from Kaneshi on the Graphic Road and in other parts of the capital where floods are everywhere, and the rains from last night to the early hours of this morning have caused some damage. The Ghana Meteorological Agency is telling us that we should expect even more rains, at least 2 heavy ones expected this year. And it seems that the age-old problem remains the same. From headlines we've seen in the Daily Graphic in 1960, Accra floods, it looks like those are replicated every year. And the question on people's minds, why and what are we not doing right? This morning, we've been joined at the table by 2 gentlemen who will attempt to answer some of your questions and ours to help us chart a new path, perhaps, for the flooding situation in Accra and beyond. And I'm joined by Dr. Simon Savoy. He's the Deputy Director, Head of Research, Technology and Innovation Unit of the Environmental Protection. Doc, good morning and welcome.
Thank you.
And next to him, Mr. George A.C., Director of Communications, National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. George, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
It looks like you will be catching a lot of the heat today on the practicalities on the ground, and then the doctor may tackle some of the engineering aspects of our problems.
Once doctor is here, I'm safe.
Perhaps let's start with the technical
yes,
hitches at play here. We've seen this problem from year to year, and every year the headlines remain the same. You could almost write next year's flood story today and just wait to change the date and publish it, and it would be exactly the same way. Why have we, or why does it appear that we've not tackled the problem? No matter how many times those who believe in God will say God presented us with an opportunity to do so. Why have we?
Yeah. Thank you. To start with, I'll say I liken the flooding situation in Accra to like a patient with a cancer ailment and a doctor treating malaria. That is the challenge.
A patient with cancer who has a doctor treating the patient for malaria. That's a death situation.
Yeah. So it's like what happens every time there's flooding in Accra, we always jump into conclusion by saying that the flood was caused by solid waste because of our indiscipline. Gutters are choked and desilting of drains. The drains were not properly desilted, or sometimes when the drains were desilted, the sand or the debris were actually run back into the drain because it was not carried away from the site. But the situation, the flooding situation in Accra, is beyond that. It goes far beyond desilting of drains. One, flooding is a natural phenomenon. Every environment has its area where it drains into. So Accra, as a city, is situated in a catchment of Odo River. Now we call it drain gutter, but it's actually a river running from Ebri down to the sea. It covers quite a sizable catchment. So a lot of rainwater, when it rains, drains, the runoff actually drains into the Odo channel, and then it's conveyed to the sea. That is a major step. Now, as I mentioned, it is a natural phenomenon. Even if those who are farmers, if you go to your farm, sometimes you have a river there, you see some of your farms getting flooded. Forest area can get flooded because it's a natural phenomenon. It occurs when the amount of water that is the rain that falls into the drainage area is more than the channel can convey. Definitely, the channel will overflow its banks and a large area will be flooded. And then naturally, too, when channels, that's the river or streams, whereby it's getting to where it drains into finally like the sea, or it could be a lake, there's an area called the flood plain, a large area which is very normally flat naturally, where the excess water during excess rainfall leads to that large area getting flooded. So Accra is actually sited in a flood plain, like the flood plain of the Odo River. So if you have excess water draining from the top, from the mountains or into that area, it will spread. The of the land is flat. So naturally, flooding is a phenomenon that occurs. It's not only in Accra. Now, there are 4 main types of flooding. So if you want to tackle flooding problem, that's why I said from the beginning that we are, I liken it to the situation of a cancer and then the treatment of malaria. There are 4 types of flooding. We have area flooding. Now, area flooding occurs where this is a small flat area where, due to the nature of the topography there, water is actually carried away. It flows by gravity. So if water falls in an area where there's no gravitational pull that will drain the water, then of course the water will form a pool there. So there are some areas where maybe by nature of construction work and other stuff, the area becomes flat. So when there's water from some uphill or this, it floods into the area, there's no channel for the water to actually flow by gravity, then the area gets ponded. So that's what happens. That is what we call area flooding. Then there are 2 other types of flooding that is associated with the rivers. We have what you call flash flood and then the river flood. And the 2, I'll put it for simplicity, they are more similar. They are like actually similar. So we have a river. When I say river, it could be a stream, it could be a big river, where it drains an area, as I mentioned, as a catchment. So when water flows, wherever the water flows, and it falls within that catchment, it will drain to the channel, and then the channel will convey the water downstream. As I mentioned earlier, if the amount of water that falls into that channel is too much for the channel to convey, automatically the adjacent lands will be flooded. So that is one part of also flooding. As I said, there are 2 there, but then they are similar. Then the 4th one is coastal flooding, which occurs where there's excess, let's say, storm surge from the sea, and it moves the waves, and the waves rise above the ground, and then it falls on land, and it will drain and then cover the land. So that is another type of flooding. So each of these flooding needed to be studied carefully, and then appropriate solutions, remediation is what's prescribed. That is what is supposed to be done.
Which is what people are calling for, because all these types of flooding that you've explained, we've experienced all of them, to the best of my knowledge, throughout the history of our city. And so why have the solutions not been forthcoming? And if they have been, why haven't they worked?
Yeah. So as I mentioned earlier, again, the doctor-patient relationship with cancer and malaria treatment. Sometimes we actually rush into, like we are eager to solve the problems. There's effort all over. Every public institution, they wish everybody wants to solve the problem. But the challenge is that we don't take time to actually study the problem carefully and come up with appropriate solutions.
You think there hasn't been enough time to study the flooding situation in Accra carefully?
Exactly.
Accra has been flooding since 1960.
Exactly.
It's 2022. How much more time do we need?
You see, what we require is actually a scientific study which involves the use of geospatial technologies to be able to appropriately delineate the various types of flooding, as I said, the areas that are vulnerable, the amount of water that enters the area, and then we come up with engineering solutions, the appropriate engineering designs that will be able to convey. So most of the engineering solutions that we have over the years, actually, because we have not done a serious study to actually quantify the problem at hand, the engineering solution is not able to solve the problem. So when there is excess water, the drain that is constructed is too small for the water to be conveyed. So that is the problem. So I even have some diagrams, and this, if they can show.
Okay.
So that
because I'm listening to you, it seems like you have identified the problem or what could be a problem, and so the solutions are available. And I come back to my original question: why haven't we been able to roll out a plan that would even begin to address the situation?
Yeah, as I mentioned, there are various institutions that are in charge of various aspects of our national development, and so there are institutions that are specifically in charge of designing drains, designing covert and other stuff to convey water. And as I mentioned, it's like what is lacking here is that not detailed work and detailed scientific study has been conducted. So what happens is that at the end of the day, the drains that are constructed are not large enough. The capacity of the drains are not large enough to be able to convey the water. And that is what happens.
Right. We'll be putting some of the material that you brought with you to explain some of these things to us. But what are the levels of consultations then when these roads and these construction works and these buildings are being put up from the engineering side of town to inform the kind of need for a particular area? Because if we are putting up a facility like the interchange at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle, having that on the back of what happened on June 3 those years ago, which claims over 100 lives, we should anticipate, or we should expect that there is an anticipation that a stronger reinforcement is needed when it comes to drains to make a situation like that better in that part of the country. Isn't that done? And if it isn't, then we have a problem.
Yeah. So what I would say is that we need a reinforcement. I think we need to go back to the drawing board, re-examine critically what we have been doing over the years, and we have been failing. Because if you are doing something and you are failing and you are repeating the same thing that you have been doing, you will continue to fail. So we have to go back to the drawing board and really think through and do proper study, hydrological study and hydraulic study of our drains, the designs, and so that we can solve this problem once and for all.
Dr. Sir, I know that you brought some material you want to share with us, so I'll give you the opportunity to get ready to explain that to us. And I'll come to you, George, he's the Director of Communications of the National Disaster Management Organization. What's NADMO's plan? Because it seemed that year on year, the situation remains largely unchanged.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you. Good morning to viewers and your production crew. NADMO is a disaster management agency organization, and we need to manage it.
So you manage?
No.
Okay.
We have the pre-disaster phase, we have the disaster phase, and the post-disaster responsibilities that we have. But in the holistic management of flooding in Accra, I love the way you put it in your topic. NADMO looks up to Ministry of Works and Housing and Government to roll out a major program which excites our interest. We believe that when that program is rolled out, we will be able to either completely take out the flooding challenge or substantially minimize it. I'm talking of the Garrett project, which Garrett project, the consultants have come to NADMO, they've engaged their stakeholder agencies, and we've made our inputs. It is something that is going to involve the construction of major storm drains across about 17 Accra region, and it's to bring an end to this challenge. I'm happy Doctor is spoken of the 4 types of flooding and their consequence on us. But whatever it is, there ought to be a solution. So I was happy when you traced it from 1960. We've seen headlines and co, and we are saddled with the situation. So my issue is that if the World Bank sponsored program or project Garrett comes to be, then we'll be making a major step forward. Because I'm excited because we've done something like that on a smaller scale. The Alajud storm drains, you remember that under President Kufuor. It brought some respite to the people along that line, and it's only in recent times that we are beginning to experience some flooding again in the Alajud enclave, and unfortunately lives. And so that excites my interest that if the Garrett project comes in, this thing will be able to have a handle on the perennial flooding.
But that's for further down the line. Until that comes on board, should we just wait with bated breath?
No, we involve in management, the Sultan, as he said, continuous partnership with assemblies to dredge the silt and then do community sensitization throughout the night till now, we've not had sleep yet. We've been deploying our teams to places that we get distress calls from to go and help save lives and properties. That's what we've been doing throughout the night to this dawn. Where we get distress call, we deploy a team to the place. We also make sure people living in flood-prone areas are clothed with the information on what to do when the rain where we've been able to identify places that we call safe havens. It's not any new structure, maybe chapel, community center, a park somewhere. Move to that place, especially those who know for sure that the flood waters will get into their rooms.
You've issued communication that
yes, we've
such places should be made available.
Yes. Oh, there's all NADMO people living, such places have been identified. If you got people in the Clote, Kwale area, the Osu Enclave, the Independence Square is one such place. Okay, so people within that area can move in for safety and then go back. So we've made community-based identification of such places.
What's the community-based identification for people around the Kanishi stretch who are experiencing the scenes that we've seen? I'm sure that if you haven't followed, yes, because of the construction that's going on further down the road near the Abosokai area, that whole stretch from last weekend when it rained and Kanishi got flooded, and they have not had any respite with the rains from 2 days ago and then the one from this morning. And just look at some of the scenes that we've seen. It's like the whole road became a carpet which folded over and just washed away. What's the plan for those people? What was the communication for those people?
Oh, no, though, you know, the Azuma Nasa complex, and so it's around that enclave. Yes, and so at the last check, that was an identified place for people to seek refuge when there are such challenges in those areas. But that place itself has its own problems.
I was coming to that.
Yes, it has its own problem. But before the problems, that was the identified place for people to seek refuge in the meantime. And you know that there's an underground tunnel from Dakuma all the way down there. Last year, I happened to be on a program with the May District Chief of the Ablekumas in charge of that area. He said the underground tunnel, sometimes they get stuck with other materials like deep freezers, fridges, and co. So they had to go in and take those things out, and then desealed those underground tunnels. Okay, in fact, last year it was done. I don't know about this year, but it was the assembly that got people to get those things done. And those are important and very important for us to be able to get a free flow of water, especially when the underground tunnels are already there. We need to put them in proper shape for them to be used so that we will not be inundated by this flooding, especially on a major highway like the Kadeshi stretch.
Because imagine the amount of work that we would lose, productive hours lost. The police service is saying people should stay home. There's actually a stay home order in effect today from the police, and they're saying that if you haven't left home already, do not. This is all money that could have been saved or could have been roped into the country's coffers, lost because of what we are seeing. What's the will to I'm hesitating to say this, the will to ensure that people do the right thing, to not build in the waterways, to dispose of their waste properly, to not even sell lands that are meant to be waterways to people who build, and then the rest of the community suffers for it.
Yes, you see, there's something. NADMO, when there's a problem, a challenge like this, the first point of call is NADMO. Will be here. But the truth is that the authority is not within the remit of NADMO to give lands for people to build, right? You know that.
NADMO and its stakeholders cannot partner to ensure that these buildings are brought down.
And we are talking about, again, Doctor spoke about the drainage system. There's an agency that is in charge of those drains. Department under the Ministry of Works and Housing. And so we will go, we'll see the challenge, and then, yes, we work as partner agencies. GMET will give us information, we'll relay it and all that. Now, there's a progress that is being made. In Act 927 of the NADMO Act of 2016, we've been given the authority to ensure that when you have your land and you want to put up a structure, you need to have a disaster clearance certificate before you can do. What it means is that a disaster officer will come and inspect whether the place is appropriate or ideal for the construction of whatever building you want to put up. Is it in waterway? We'll be able to do that assessment.
The suggestion is that for the regular man on the street, those checks will be made, but for certain special groups of people who are deemed by some members of the public as having links to officials, those rules do not apply. So if Thelma goes to build in a waterway, chances are it will be pulled on, but if
So you are making assumptions.
No, that's,
you've not
it's
got,
the perception
yes,
out there.
Okay, perception and assumptions. Let the people get the power and let's see how they roll it out. And that perception feeds into some kind of reality, because people have had power, and then, you know, we are planners. A place has been designated for a school field, road and other things, and yet people go to build there. As a waterway, everybody knows, and yet, you know, Ramsey sites are being filled to have buildings.
You brought this,
there.
you put this on the table, not me. Forest reserves, so.
Yeah, forest reserve matters, you know. We have heard experts talk about. I think government should take a second look at that, but that's not the matter for discussion, because otherwise areas downstream, Jawulu and Co., if we clear that thing, that's for another matter. Okay, so on the disaster front, these are some of the authorities that we've been given in our Act 927, but we need an LI to be able to implement it.
Let's get to the LI in a few minutes. Doc has been at the screen for a while, and he has something to share with us. I see cross sections of the Odo River geometry data for ID hydraulic modeling. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I brought this material to share, to throw more light on the flooding situation along the Odo drain. As I mentioned, most of the time when it rains and there's flooding, we conclude that it's because of the area the drains are choked and stuff. So I want to share more light on this.
Okay.
That's why
Which area is this?
So this is a section from Farm Milk area down to the Akwamikuma Circle area. Okay. So this one, as I mentioned earlier on, geospatial technology, to be able to do a detailed study to guide in management of the environment, we employ these tools a lot. So this tool is take a cross section across the Odo drain. So with this information, and then you have a DM data, that digital elevation model, you'll be able to actually generate a more like 3D view of the channel. So in the next slide. So this one was used to actually generate a 3D view. So you can see the 3D view where this is the main channel, and then these are the adjacent lands. So that if you have excess water flowing through this channel, you can see this channel, and from this diagram you can see a small area. This is the main channel. Now, if there's an excess water, automatically this channel cannot convey all the water, so the water will spill to the adjacent land. So that's what normally happens. The next slide. So this one is also the same thing. Try to zoom in further to give a detailed view. So this is how the situation looks like. So whether and this diagram actually here is depicting where there's no structure on the surface of the ground. That is when you are using the DM data. That is the nature. That is the data set that is used in hydraulic and hydraulical modeling. So there is no structure, surface structure here. So this is the natural environment topography of the area. So when you have excess water, it will spill to this. So it doesn't matter whether there is some structure here, there is a structure there. The place will be naturally flooded. Next slide. So when you run the simulation, you will see that the excess water, it cannot, this small channel cannot contain, so it spreads. Even though you don't see any building, any material here, the area is flooded because that is a natural phenomenon. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, so taking a cross section to give a better view, you can also see. So this is the water in the distance. So if you have water, more water coming into this channel cannot contain it, so it is spilling out. So all here will be affected. Next slide. Yeah, so this one is also showing, the diagram is not so clear, but this is the main channel. So you can see the arrows showing the direction of flow of the water through the main channel, but then you see that the water spills because excess water is spills, and you see the various direction. So as I said, this diagram I brought is to show that it says we have been we've seen that there's burden on waterways and blah, blah, that's why the water spilled covering the area is actually this is a natural phenomenon. Even though this diagram is showing the data set is showing that there's no facility on the surface of the land, you will see the flow, the direction of flow. So that is a natural thing that will happen, whether there are burdens there or no burden there. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah. So you see this is displayed on an open street map to show the various areas, and you see how the Odome cemetery, and then you see Kaneshi somewhere here, so you can see that's how the various areas are flooded with this kind of model here. The next slide. So again, when the flooding, the 2016 or 2015 flood disaster, the twin flood,
June 3.
Yeah, the Goy filling station that was flooded, there were some suggesting that that place had never flooded before, and that it was probably as a result of the construction of the circle. That's why it called flood. But in this simulation, is showing clearly that this area can be flooded when you have excess water flowing through. So this is the Goy's filling station, and it's naturally can be prone to flooding. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, so what I did was that, we have been talking about desilting the drain, and the assumption is that when you desilt the drain, it will solve the problem. So I had to do some simulation to see whether when we desilt the drain, it will solve the problem. So I took that section of the drain, divided into 3 sections. You have the upper, the middle, and then the lower. So the upper ridge, I desilted using a GIS tool to desilt it to a meter, or let's say 1 meter depth. Then the middle one, 0.75, this section, and then the last one, that is the lower section here, we desilt it to up to half a meter, to see if I run the simulation to what extent will this desilting will impact on the flooding situation in the area. So next slide. So after running the simulation, you will see that if you desilt, it's only this small strip of land that will be safe when you have that same amount of water flowing through the system. So you can see that desilting actually cannot solve the flooding situation. Only just small stretch that will be important. Next slide. Part of scenario 1 analysis. So scenario 2, try to add detention pond. Let's say you create an area where you divert the water so that the water is contained and then later released into the drain gradually. So when I did that simulation too, you see if you have a detention, properly designed detention, you can see that it can have a better impact on the flooding situation, like compared to the desilting. Yeah. Next slide. So what I did was that I combined the two, desilting together with the detention pond. You see the areas that will be saved if the same amount of flood goes through the system. So that is it. Next slide. So in short, what we want to say is that the flooding situation, as I mentioned, depending on the type of flooding, which you have to study first, then you actually come up with appropriate mediations, and the appropriate mediation requires a detailed scientific study. It's not like you just get up and go. You go and control a certain amount of volume of this thing. It will not be able to take that excess water that you expect to be conveyed away from her. So we need a detailed study. So what we are also doing, another thing we are doing is that we are trying to develop a flood assessment level 2, where online this in that wherever, let's say you want to build or you want to sites and facility, you want to rent a store, wherever, you can enter the coordinate of the area and you enter it to show you, give you the detailed information about possible flooding in the area. So like this location, if you enter the coordinate and let's say in this way, then you see a plot coming out to show you the flooding situation in the area. So that's something we are doing to actually help in addition to like maybe properly designed drains and stuff.
Okay, is that a website? This thing that can tell you.
Under construction.
Share the
it's under construction. It has not been hosted
it's
yet.
not online yet.
Yeah.
But it's something that's coming on board. How soon can we expect something like this? To guide people who want to even buy land and to site property to decide if they want to build there in the first place.
Yeah. So for this one, this study, it can come on maybe within 3 or 4 months. However, to be able to cover a larger areas, and so we need more study. So it's ongoing study that we are doing. So that is there.
Okay, Dr. Sewe, once you're done with the presentation, I'm guessing you can join us back at the table. But Mr. Isi, you see the extent of the problem. So it seems that all this while we are only managing and trying to impress on citizens the need to, you know, keep your surroundings clean and all that. So we are being told that it will require more than we are already doing. Where does that leave us? Where does that put us? And where is that taking us?
That's what I said about the Garrett project. And it's incorporated. See, when you read the June 3rd report, it talks about the retention ponds along the Aburi Highlands all the way down to the Odo. Lands which are already occupied as we speak. Yeah, so definitely then we need a plan to relocate. Yes, and then compensate people. All are factored in the Garrett package. And so, yeah, that is it. And you see, when he demonstrated that, a lot of land, bigger lands will be saved. So as he said, we are just doing the management. We do the silting and co. The impact is very minimal. And so we need a bigger, broader action that is in the Garrett approach. We need the holistic and another issue. I don't know whether he will be touching on the issue of decongesting certain densely populated areas and co. Especially, maybe he will not touch on that because he doesn't believe the impact of field and other things is that large. You get it, and I agree with his illustration. Very scientific and academic. So when we bring all these together and we commit the resources to it, we'll be making progress as far as the management of the flooding in Accra is concerned. I think it's excellent presentation.
But in the meantime, until the science meets the reality on the ground, the people are feeling the reality of being displaced, losing businesses. We've heard people talk about they are not able to salvage anything from their shops, and part of the problem is laid at the doorstep of human beings and their attitudes. And when you do these engagements, do you get the sense that we are making any headway
as far as solving the problem is concerned?
As far as changing attitudes?
Oh, the attitudinal is worrying. Do you know why? Last year, AMB arrested and sanctioned about 240 people. And when the processes were going on, people were still offending and being brought there. So I don't know whether the punitive measure wasn't that harsh, or we are just not ready to change our ways. That's throwing refuse into drainage and other things. They were arrested, charged, and all that, and the offenses were still going on. Okay, so I believe when you get the hygiene people from the assemblies, they'll be able to tell you the number of people that are most sometimes being arrested and prosecuted in those offenses courts. Right. So it's our attitude is part of it. But once these days too, the people are beginning to appreciate the challenges it brings to them because of the attitude. You live somewhere flood prone area and you are not managing your affairs well, when it comes, it's going to hurt you. People are beginning to understand that and beginning to mend their ways. So these days, as I said, I don't think people are being troublesome in throwing refuse into dam. The other aspect, before you go, is maybe on us, the assembly, to, we put containers somewhere. And then people put their refuse in. And we do not dispose of them and allow the rains to fall and then wash these things away. Nobody deliberately throws anything into the gutter. But our acts, because we did not take them away. And the last one too, we desilt our drains, Operation Clean Your Frontage. Fantastic. But we do that and we leave them by the drains.
So waste disposal is a problem. And
yes, it's a big problem.
For the EPA, what's the specific plan to address the waste disposal problem? Because so long as people do not have a place to dump their rubbish, so long as the distance from the home to the refuse dump is long and it gets further, people are tempted to leave them anywhere, and then the rain carries them where it will.
Yeah. Okay, I'll address that, but let me say that, as I mentioned in my submissions, if Accra is the neatest city in the world, there will still be flooding. If the flooding situation that we are experiencing in Accra were to be due to only like choke drains and improper waste management and stuff, then we will say that there will not be any flooding in advanced countries like Germany, Britain, America, and this. But those places, we still hear of devastating floods where people die, projects are lost, billions of dollars. So, as I mentioned, flooding is a natural phenomenon. Even if we manage our waste well, there will still be flooding.
So we should up and leave and give up?
No,
because if God will bring it on us anyway and we can't help it.
Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is that those advanced countries, what they do is that they do proper design, engineering solutions. Yeah. So, like the drains, the areas that are congested, as he said, that maybe decongesting might not be, because it will be, the compensation will be too much. So what could be done is that we can build underground tunnel. They do that underground channel where the water will seep into the underground, contained in a huge channel there, and then later either it will flow or it will be pumped or it will be used for something else. So the problem we have in Accra, as I mentioned, is more of engineering design, not attitudinal per se.
Isn't it expected that, for example, and I reference the circle interchange again, that if such a project was being cited there, the underground would be taken into consideration, and there would be massive, I would expect from a layman's perspective, that there would be massive pipes under that road that would just carry all the water away. So if it's still happening, it means that it didn't happen.
That didn't happen. So maybe it's the cost, or somebody didn't think through. This happens
on other highways as well. So there are other parts of highways, I mean on the Tesano area, other major roads that also gets flooded when it rains. It means that those things were not taken into consideration when they were being put there, and the silting will not help. Exactly. Should we just give up then, Dr. Sam?
So that's why I say that we need to adopt a different approach, not repeating what we have been doing over the years for several decades, and it's not solving a problem. So let's go actually search for resources that will do proper designs of our drain, bigger drains that will be able to both detention ponds that will divert the water, store them there for a later use, and then also build underground tunnel which the water can drain. So those are the things that can solve the problem.
That's Garrett. Yeah.
That's what the Garrett the Garrett projects would also include. You can send your contributions to this topic that we are discussing, flooding in Accra, an age-old problem that does not have a solution yet, is what we're interrogating. Mr. George is the Director of Communications of the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, and Dr. Simon Savo is the Deputy Director, Head of Research, Technology and Innovation Unit of the Environmental Protection Agency, and they are here to answer your questions. Our WhatsApp number 05555 61034, and Kaf is at the screen to tell us what your thoughts are now. Kaf.
Thank you very much. It's cold outside. It's cold in here, so I'm having some hot cocoa drink here. What is GARID, by the way? What does it stand for?
Regional Integrated Development Project.
Is it underway?
Yes. At the consultative stage. A World Bank funded $200 million project on the drainage system of Accra.
Okay.
It's going to affect about 17 districts in the Greater Accra.
Has the money come home?
Not yet. In fact, the consultants are working on it. They need to send their report before the funds.
How long have they been working on this, Gary?
I think we are into about the third year or so.
3 years to
Yeah, but some even believe we started hearing of it in 2017 anyway, but actually between 2020 and now, last year they came to us at NADMO to speak to other consultants.
Why do you take 5 years to consult on drains?
No. They need to put. No, the issue of GARID came up way back, but the works itself, I think, started around 2020, thereabout.
It's still too long, 2 years.
Yes. They need to send a report for World Bank to approve and release the funding.
How thick is this report? I mean, it's taking too long. Albert in Kumasi says, everyone needs to leave Ghana for a while. The country needs some time alone to think and reboot. I love Albert, man.
Yep.
I love Albert. Yeah, too many problems.
Time out.
Kudos to time out for Ghana. Kudos to your panelists for this comprehensive discussion of flooding in Accra. Awesome. Good morning, Thelma. The weather bulletins of the media should be every hour as is done in advanced countries, not only once a day. Local FM stations in particular should champion this in view of their reach and popularity. This will help listeners plan their day properly and avoid unnecessary risks.
Now they do it sometimes 3 times a day.
Yes, but I think I like this point that in your news bulletin every hour you should tell us what the weather is. Yes, and that makes sense. Raymond Kwabla says, good morning to all of us. Thank you so much. I side with Dr. partly, but attitude is halfway of the problem. Too much indiscipline in the country. Some developers dump sand and stones for construction to block drains. And okay, perennial flooding in Accra, says Anthony Kwashe. Dear madam, Ghanaians don't like to go through archives. My father was a civil servant in the colonial days. There are papers of solutions and drawings by the whites before they left. Because there are competitions among the various and numerous agencies formed after independence, things won't go on. They don't want to meet and solve these problems. What the doctor was presenting, they are all there in the colonial papers left behind. Is it true? I'm sure most of these papers have been destroyed. Please let the agencies meet together to solve the problem. So maybe it's a coordination issue that people have to coordinate. I think all of these issues discussed should be a collective effort from the various agencies responsible for these challenges. Carl from Atlas last stop, so he's thinking along the same lines. Jane says, good morning GTV. I think we should stop building fences around homes and plant green grass in the front view of every house. It will help stop flooding in houses. Yeah, it happens a lot in America. You don't see walls, you just see, water can flow. And to the robbery scene, I like that. There's no fence. People will come out faster. The robbery. The woman. We think fences give us protection, but not. They say make the fences see-through, so people can see through, see you. I think it makes sense. The moment you say that guy, now I know you're about to insult. I don't really need insulting messages. Good morning, Thelma. All our flooding issues here in Accra, mostly caused by our municipal engineers. No question about this. Construction here in Accra is under our municipal engineers, either roadworks or planning departments. And the Noko fuel is becoming too much. It's probably Noko Agbo with the construction sections of our municipal assemblies, meaning give me small and work. They do not thoroughly check or monitor people's buildings or doing the projects. Let me know when I have to stop. God in his ingenuity and intelligence created wetlands to collect storms that won't generate into floods. Instead of developing these wetlands to harbor the storms, wetlands have been hijacked for industries and residences. Man thinks he's wiser than his creator. Yeah, there's a Ganf proverb like that. If you think you are wiser than everybody else, you see a dog and you greet it. Yes, Thomas can give it to me, Gan. Please respect the intelligence of viewers and flood victims, most especially by not inviting Nadmo. You think they don't know what he's part of the government that shapes the goalposts? Is that a fair appreciation of the problem? I'm sure Mr. Aisi will respond. It's a pity. From 60 to 2022, 62 years, we're still experiencing flood in the country. We've heard that it's a natural phenomenon, but how we manage it is the problem. Simple. The population of Accra in the 60s was less. Been listening to your panelists, and it seems none of them have given us any robust solution, but rather identifying the problems. I think Dr. Sovwe said it's an engineering issue. That's what I gathered from it. It's an engineering issue more than even attitudes. Okay?
Garrett is a solution.
Garrett is a solution, but they are still consulting.
But it hasn't happened yet.
After how many years?
It's
all right.
Bank project.
So let's find practical ways in solving national issues, not only in flooding.
Okay.
I'll leave it for now. Thank you very much, gentlemen and lady.
Thank you, Kath, and go back to your very warm coffee. And I wonder why I don't have warm I have awake, and you should drink awake water, and a portion of what you spend will be given to the National Cardiothoracic Center to finance the treatment of those who cannot afford, and we are proud to be associated with Awake Mineral Water. We are discussing the flooding situation. I will be wrapping up very quickly. I personally look at colonial towns and cities like, for example, Jamestown in Accra, and we see the well laid out. We see the gutters and where they go. We see the underground sewage system, and it appears to be working. So when I sit here and I hear that the gutters are not the solutions, I begin to wonder. So how come it's working in some of these areas and you hardly ever hear that, for example, Jamestown is flooded or Choco is flooded, but we keep hearing it at these new settlements? And that's why perhaps people say the new settlement should really be the focus of our attention. What should be our immediate goal Doc, as we seek to understand better where we should go with finding solutions for our flooding problems in the city?
Okay, okay. Regarding, you see, it depends on the location of the community. As I mentioned, an area where naturally it drains into either a bigger river to the sea to a lake. If you are located close to the bank of the drain, when it floods, of course, your area or your community will be affected. But if you are located far away from the immediate surrounding of the drain, when it rains, like the water will definitely not affect you because your area will be drained towards that channel. So it could be that those areas, Jamestown and Choco and those places you are mentioning, they are not close to the Odo River or a bigger drain where there's flooding issue. That's
but
why
some would say it's close to the Koli Lagoon.
Yeah.
And the old Fadama and what we've come to call Sodom and Gomorrah in Accra and the encroachment on the river, we still do not see those kind of things like we are seeing at Abosokai even, and it's just a few hundred meters apart.
That's what I'm saying. It depends on the topography of the area. You know, water cannot climb a hill, so if the excess water, it will only go to a extent where it can move because it moves by gravity. So that's how it is. So those communities are not so close to the disease. Like the Fadama, old Fadama, that area, it gets flooded when you have excess water. But of course, those other communities that are the fringes will not be affected because the water cannot climb to that level.
What should be our immediate go-to with regards to finding solutions or working from where we
as
are?
As I said, we need to really identify the real problem. As I want to say, oh, there's burning on waterway, choke drains and this thing. We have done that for several years and it's not solving a problem. So the main issue where we try to quantify the amount of water that will flow through an area and then the appropriate drain, a culvert or this thing that we can construct. And then I also mentioned that we can construct underground tunnels and this is to be able to convey the water. In the areas where are not, let's say the area is not highly congested, you can create an open detention pond area to the area so that we can divert the water to. So those are the solutions. Actually, that's how.
Thank you, Doc. Mr. AC, perhaps you could share some of these numbers with us that people could call, bearing in mind that sometimes it's in the middle of the night and people cannot even move from where they are if they find themselves in distress to the safe spots that you've designated.
Yeah, but before I touch on that, I think Doc is touched extensively on that. But the challenge too is 2 hours of rain and then we're experiencing flooding and co. So I think some of these talking about it's important.
Channels.
Yes, it's important for us to put them in place and clear people from building on waterways, and then allowing Ramsey sites to be Ramsey sites. You know, very, very important, so that we will not be experienced. At least we can minimize these things. Advanced countries, as he said, there are these things, but a certain amount of rainfall will elicit the flooding. It's not just 2-3 hours and then we are saddled with what we experienced Saturday and then yesterday to this morning. So going forward, yes, NADMO emergency line 112, the emergency line. You say you want to reach NADMO, or you call directly to our emergency operations center, EOC, 0302 96 4884. 0302 96 4884. When you call this line, NADMO officials will pick it up directly, or the 112, it goes there and then you are relayed to NADMO.
Okay, so
you can report your issues and we'll deploy a team to come to your aid.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time to join us this morning at the table. We've been discussing perennial flooding in Accra. Is a decades-old problem solvable? And the doctor, who is Dr. Simon Savoy, Deputy Director, Head of Research, Technology and Innovation Unit of the Environmental Protection Agency, says we've got it all wrong all this while. We need to go back to the engineering and we need to construct underground tunnels and holding areas for water and actually study the science of the city before we can begin to even address the situation head on. The silting will work to a point, but it needs even more than that, more than attitudinal change. needed in this situation. Mr. George, is the Director of Communications, National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, is saying that they're coming on board of the Garrett project, which has not happened yet, but will, he's assured us, will help us to navigate the curves and present some of the solutions that the doctor has proffered to help the Accra flooding situation. And the NADMO numbers to call in an emergency. June 3rd report. Well, so
forward looking,
but the implementation has not happened. And so this morning there are some of you out there who need help, and you can call NADMO's emergency number 112, or you can reach them on 0302 964884, and help will come to you. Dr. Savoy and Mr. Isi, thank you for joining us. And this is GTV Breakfast. We'll be back with the next segment of the show, hosted by Valerie, and we encourage you to keep watching and be safe out.
Hi and welcome. Yes, the whole of Ghana is reeling from the aftermath of the rains, and it's, I mean, the sights, the pictures, and the sounds that we've seen, devastating. But Christmas came early for us, and Christmas is in May. We're going to ask why Christmas is in May, and Santa is coming. He's coming in May. He comes bearing gifts. Santa is in the studio. He's looking all grizzly and Santa. Guys, we have Fred Amugi in studio. Hi, Uncle Fred.
Hello.
Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure to have you. And then joining Uncle Fred is none other than Latif Abubakar, playwright extraordinary. Latif, we've never had you on the yellow couch. Welcome.
Yeah, it's a yellow couch.
Yes. It's a yellow couch, so we've never had you. So we're about to talk about a play that's going to be staged in May. about Santa and Christmas and all the goodies that come with Christmas. Before them, though, Uncle Fred, you've been around for a long time, way before Latif or myself was born. And flooding is every year, like it hits us even worse. Yeah. What are your thoughts this morning when you were driving in? I'm sure you saw some of the site. What are your general thoughts?
I think it's all about our engineering. I believe if the right engineers, you know, were given the chance to really engineer our roads and our, you know, communities, these things wouldn't happen. Yeah, I think square pegs are put in round holes, and this is the result.
This is the result.
Yeah.
And then,
according to me.
How about the citizens ourselves? Do you think we are to blame too?
Oh, sure. We are part of it. See, nothing comes up without the collaboration of, you know, other people and other forces. Can you imagine me eating wache and just flinging out the leaf, and that is it?
I can't imagine you, but I know other people will do it.
Exactly. So if this should happen, and then it rains, and the very thing I threw out the window comes back into my room via water, who am I to blame?
It doesn't make any sense.
Yes. So I think it's high time we collected ourselves as a force to tell one another, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is good. And it should be the beginning of trying to straighten things that we have made crooked, you know, to just make our living good.
Wise words from Uncle Fred, and that's his take on the flooding. Latif, you put a lot of social issues and things that are trending into your place. This morning when you got here, you were a bit flustered, thinking Uncle Fred wouldn't make it because of traffic. Yeah. What are your general thoughts about the flooding, issues in Ghana every year?
For me, I share the responsibility, the citizen and then the government.
Yeah.
I think that the government's work more difficult in terms of sanitation-wise. Yeah. Most of the flooding, for me, when I see a place flood, the first I try to find out what is happening. Aside maybe people building in waterways, you would realize that there's a lot of garbage. Loads of garbage. And even the gutters we have, the drainage we have, most of them are choked. And how did it happen? How did it happen?
How did we get here?
Yeah, how did we get here?
Yeah.
So we play a very significant role. As much as the government is not doing much, we play a very significant role in making sure that the already existing drainage at least function properly. It will definitely minimize the impact of flooding on our society.
Right, Latif. Thank you. Those were Latif's thoughts on the flooding issues. Now, we're about to go to the theaters, and Uncle Fred, I believe, is the man who's going to play Santa. Uncle Fred, tell us why we should come to the theaters in May. What is Santa coming to do in Ghana in May?
It's been such a long time that Fred Amugi went on stage, and he's back.
With the band.
And that is one of the signs that the stage is going to rock.
Yes, man.
So come see Fred Amugi do what he knows best at where he really started. I started from the stage, you know, and that way back in 1969.
I don't think my parents had thought about it.
I intentionally pushed the date.
Uncle Fred, would you say you prefer on stage live than on screen, or vice versa? Sure,
because it makes me think.
When you're
not just think, but it makes me think faster. You can't imagine messing up in front of a live audience. I mean, You dare not. So whatever has been put in place, you must have innovations all around you just to patch up if something
you miss a line or something.
You know, you can miss just a word, you mess up the whole production. Just one word.
Has that ever happened in your lifetime?
Yes.
Has that ever happened?
My dear, if any actor who's been on the stage before comes here, or you hear it from anywhere that he hasn't messed up once, tell him, Fred, it's a lie.
A big lie.
It's a lie.
I mean, you get all your lines, all your movements, but just something little. You can even hear the prompter prompting you. The more the prompter speaks, the worse the situation becomes. It happens. It happens. At least once in a while, all this thing. But it's part of the game, you know.
So your first love is at being on stage?
Yes, that one. Yeah, I will never throw away. So when Latif said, Uncle Fred, Christmas in May, say, count me in.
Nice.
And here I am, just about playing Christmas in May with on Latif's.
So do you play Santa Claus? What role do you play?
Just one of the characters.
Because of your beard, there you are.
Oh, this is an advert.
Yes, but I want to know what you play, Uncle Fred. What role did you play? What were some of the... Do you remember? You should remember your lines. Are you still studying your lines, though?
Okay, so
you want to say something?
Yes, maybe I'll pick it up from here. So,
thank you.
Of course, he's done with his lines. The play is ready. We are putting it to shape now. It's more about adding and subtracting to give Ghanaians the best. Christmas in May. For me, when I told Uncle Fred Christmas in May, why he said, why Christmas in May?
Exactly.
And then I told him that, jokingly, I told him that, you know what, times are hard. People are struggling.
Yeah.
This is the best time for the Ghanaian economy to have Father Christmas appearing.
In our bank accounts, in our wallets.
And in reality, at the conference center on Saturday and Sunday, Santa is coming with loads of goodies.
Aha.
Yeah. So it's not just about the laughter, about the fun in terms of what the play will bring you, but it's about the fact that you might win a weekend stay at Labadi Beach Hotel.
That one is inside.
It's part of it.
These are all parts of the gifts that Santa is bringing. But wait, before you tell us about the gifts, what exactly is the play about? What is it about?
Okay, so it tells a story of 4 young adults who face an unknown. And then their leader was being nabbed by the police, was nabbed by the police. They managed to escape, only to run into another.
Does it make sense?
Yes. That's
it.
And
the unknown can be negative, it can be positive.
So that's it. The play actually speaks on child trafficking.
Right.
And then child labor. That is the moral of the play, the education bit of the play. Aside comedy, music, dance, laughter, and so on and so forth.
It is very musical.
We're tackling child trafficking, we're tackling child labor, and trying to educate people to be ambassadors to fight against child trafficking.
Right. We are going to be opening the phone lines, of course. Santa came early and we are giving away tickets. We are not opening the phone lines yet, but hey, fastest fingers first, 0543364264. Write that down and it's going to be on our screens. Latif, we know that COVID affected theatre badly. Not just theatre, every aspect of the creative industry. And did production for you, for Globe Productions, did it stop when COVID was rife? And did it stop, or you did stuff virtually? How
I think we were very innovative That is what we strive to be. Fortunately, I would say that we ripped from virtual plays. We were the first to come up with a virtual play on COVID-19 in the world that had about 3.5 million views. Credit to the Ministry of Information and the Ministry of Health, because they supported us immensely. And we planned actually to do this as our social responsibility, to educate people about COVID. Fortunately for us, the kind of mileage and views we had actually prompted corporate Ghana to support us churn out at that place.
Right.
And it became more of a blessing, moving into corporate social responsibility and making some profits that you never expected and planned for during COVID. So it was good. We did 3 virtual plays.
So it wasn't all negative then?
No, for us it wasn't actually negative.
Yes, some blessing.
Yeah, it wasn't negative. It wasn't negative. And at least we were excited about the fact that whilst people were during the lockdown, we were able to put loads of smiles, joy and happiness on the faces of people. If you go to the Facebook pages, it was streamed on your GTV's Facebook page. The comments there tells you a lot. How people were excited, happy, felt a bit distressed with regards to what they were going through during the COVID era. We reinforced the message of the preventive measures of COVID-19 during that particular period. It was good for us. It was good.
Right. There's a message. We're going to open our phone lines, but there's a message that came in on my message board to Uncle Fred. It says, "Good morning, Uncle Fred. Please, I'm a young writer and actor. Please, how can I get connected? I have about 6 stories that need to be acted out. Please, I need help." I think this goes to both to Uncle Fred and to Lateef.
And especially one of the greatest playwrights.
Lateef, one thing with you is your place is how you put together the cast. How do you go about selecting people into this? And I'm going to laud you for this because we've seen some productions here in Ghana screen and on stage where we have young people acting the roles of elderly persons.
Yeah.
How do you put together your casting? That's just an amazing...
So it's about casting. If you're writing a script and you want it, it's supposed to be natural. It's supposed to be live. So if you put up such a script and your casting doesn't match in terms of the scripting, then you've done nothing. You've done nothing. In terms of exactly. So for us at Globe, we actually have a department that focuses on casting, and we have someone who is an expert in it. And we try to audition as much as possible for each particular production we're embarking on, and that helps us.
Audition.
Yes.
Oh, you were. How did he do in this audition? Okay, guys, we're going to be opening the phone lines now. Our phone lines are open, and it's 054-336-4264. Christmas in May. Santa just came early. Lateef, is happening this weekend?
Yes, Saturday, Sunday. We have at Accra International Conference Center. We have 2 shows each day. First show is 4 p.m. Second show is 8 p.m. And 4 p.m., 8 p.m. PM and PM.
Starts exactly. Okay.
That's what happens with our theatrical performance.
We have a caller. Thank you for calling us. What's your name, please? Right. You have, just by calling us, you want yourself 2 tickets for you and any person you want to go and watch the play with, and so you choose the day you want to go and watch it with. But Uncle Fred is here, Lateef is here. Do you want to say a few words to them, or perhaps ask them something?
Okay. Yeah, please. I wanted to know whether there's room for some of us who have the skills to be able to act.
I think, Lateef, you should be able to answer this. So is there room?
Yeah, there's always room for people who want to perform. Yeah, it's how good you are. And not just how good you are, but being committed. The passion plays a very significant role in we selecting an actor, because some of the people we are using now actually don't have the certificates. They did their accounting or their other
professions.
professions.
The thing is, if it's inborn, it's inborn.
And then if you are passionate about it, stage needs commitment, because there is you need to come for rehearsals. It's not like a movie where you can do 2-3 days of rehearsals and go and shoot. Some might not even go for rehearsals, but with stage, you don't have a choice. We have to camp Uncle Fred for a period of time before you can go on stage to perform. So if you have that patience, if you have that zeal, the passion, why not?
And you must learn your lines from the very first page towards the end. Unlike, other acting business where certain scenes are picked for the day and you go there,
Okay. Caller, thank you for calling us. Christmas in May, Santa Kameli. You've won 2 tickets by just calling us. So what's your name, please?
My name is Daniel Agawa.
Thank you, Daniel. So you can say something to Uncle Fred or Latif.
Yeah, I want to tell Uncle Fred that we have missed him on set. So we need to see him back on set.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, he has listened to you. So you need, because you've won yourself a ticket. Actually, when you go and watch the show on Saturday or Sunday, you can get to see Uncle Fred in action. And so, yeah, you've missed him. Uncle Fred, what do you think about our current state of our creative arts industry, especially when it comes to theatricals and movies?
That's the hardest question I have ever been asked, because it's a whole industry manned by so-called people who really know what they are about, and yet looks as if we are at a standstill. We are marking time at the same spot. We are not moving forward. We are not moving backwards. Things are so, I really don't want to use the word bad, but things are not as they must be, in terms of managing the industry and telling people this will mar our relationship. That will not do for the, what do you call it, the industry. If we do this, then we are all for it. But come to think of it, even the Ghana Actors Guild is in court. It doesn't make sense.
Okay, Uncle Fred, hold your thoughts on that. Suleimana, thank you for calling us, and you've won yourself 2 tickets, and you have Uncle Fred and Latif Abubakar. They have your ears, and you have your eyes to see them. So, hey, what do you want to say?
Good morning to everybody. This is my first time seeing Latif. I want to come and see him live and color.
So there you have it. You can see him on Saturday or Sunday. Do you want to say anything to Latif?
No, I just like him too much. I want to go and meet him.
Well, let's see if your fan will see you on Saturday, on Sunday. Uncle Fred, you were sharing your thoughts about the current state of our industry.
Yes.
And
come to think of it, if the Ghana Actors Guild is in court, you ask a question for what I mean. What is it that we can't sit and judge all? And the very people who are supposed to be in the forefront to make things happen are the very people who have taken the guild to court. So what is happening?
Okay.
People look up to you as a role model, and then you do this. Coming generations, to me, will never forgive you. They come to learn that this is what happened, because many of us are saying, no, it ought not to have happened this way.
Okay, Uncle Fred, but from where you sit, where do you think we went wrong as an industry? Where do you think we went wrong? And maybe what do you think we could have done better, or what do you think we can do better?
I think we put square pegs in round holes. That's how I see things. People who can actually do it, oversee whatever.
Right. Thank you, Uncle Fred. Christmas came early and there's a lot of records in studio. You don't want to see what Cafe Day is up to and Multi-T is up to. We have a call online. Thank you for calling us. You are last and final caller. You have 2 tickets. What's your name, please?
Nia Ule Latte from Nia Ule Latte.
Ni, thank you for calling us. Do you want to say a few words or perhaps something nice to Uncle Fred or ask him a question or Latif?
Yeah, you know, I would like to meet Latif. I would like to meet Latif one-on-one on that day. But for Uncle Fred, I think we've met several times.
Oh, wow.
When he was with Monka, I asked him I want to join them, and then he started laughing at me. One day I got upset, and then my mom was like, look at him like his uncle. something Krista. When he was asked, what you said your name is, and then he changed it, turned the tongue, and then he was like, my name is Uncle Fred, remember that act. Something Krista. At Carnation.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Ni, for calling us, and thank you for sharing those memories you have with Uncle Fred. Thank you. And so, yeah, we've been spending time with Latif Abubakar, playwright, and Fred Amugi, legendary actor. And yeah, we'll see Uncle Fred on stage this Saturday and Sunday at the Accra International Conference Center. 2 shows each, 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. The place to be this weekend is at the Accra International Conference Center. So we are all going to see Santa and the gifts that Santa has in store for us. Today happens to be the birthday of the man who is in charge of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, our DJ. Alaji, today is your birthday. Happy birthday, sir. From everybody here at the Breakfast Team, the whole of GBC, we are wishing you a splendid one, sir. And we have word from our director, Ben, that there's a party after the show, sir. And that's our Director General on the screen. Happy birthday, Prof. Amin.
Hey.
Big birthday to the professor who mans the affairs of GBC. There he is. There's a party after the show, guys. Right in front of the corridor before the DG's office. I hear the party's at 11:15. Whoop, whoop, big shout out to the prof. It's his birthday. And so, yes, guys, this has been our show. You can catch the whole show again at 11 p.m. on GTV. And remember to use the hashtag GTV Breakfast everywhere because our show continues and we are interactive. Also, we are still on the hashtag to fix our traffic. And send us videos and pictures of where you are. Are you safe and keep safe? Have a great day, guys.
She said she no go love again, need it for come up. Better loving you go get.